just cracking underneath my feet.
Sounds like bones cracking.
Exactly. So when all of a sudden that realization hit, I just was like, I started looking around and I'm seeing all these trees.
Look at me, I'm flying! Oh, no, wait, maybe not.
What's up everybody, and welcome to the very first episode of the Puff Puff Pass podcast. I'm your host Leroy, and in this podcast we get together with some friends and acquaintances alike to talk about some of our personal experience with drug usage as we grew up, all while sharing some food, some blunts, some knowledge, and some laughs. For the premiere episode of this podcast, I am joined by none other than my amazing friend that I've known for more than 10 years, Dario. Dario.
It's a pleasure being here.
First of all, Dario, how are you doing?
Well, I mean, I have my pizza, I have a blunt ready, we got 2 Fantas lined up. Couldn't do better, I guess.
Sounds like a recipe for an amazing night. So, Dario, I would really like to thank you for making this episode even possible. You've arranged all of this incredible setup. It looks amazing, and this episode definitely wouldn't look the same without your help. So, thanks a lot.
It's a pleasure, man.
Now, before we dive into things and start digging up our past, I think it would be fitting if we started the episode off in a very traditional way by lighting our first blunt of the evening.
I agree.
Let's do this. So these blunt wraps, I have no idea what they are. They kind of smell like...
I think strawberry or chocolate, I'm not sure.
some type of berry for sure.
Chocolate berry.
Chocolate berries, elderberries, let's go. Alright, well, I would say...
Yeah, cheers, man.
Cheers. Enjoy.
Let's
Oh man, it's been a while.
Yeah.
Tastes fucking amazing, holy shit.
Yeah, I think I haven't smoked one, like a blunt, for, I don't know, I'd say over 5 years.
Really?
Honestly.
I'd say, I mean, even back in the day, and we'll get to that in a bit, of course, but like even back in the day when we were smoking a lot, blunts is not something that, you know, it's like a thing you do on occasion every now and then.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I don't really get people who smoke blunts the entire time. It would just
Yeah, it's like a special occasion thing.
exactly like this one. All right, how's the pizza, by the way?
Real nice. I'd say 10 out of 10. Why? Because we got lucky. We got more pizza than we ordered.
Yeah, they gave us a large one instead of a medium. Which, I mean, it's a good thing we enjoy large ones just the same. Alright, so I've got a list of topics for things that I want to discuss today.
You came prepared.
I did. I worked the entire day, even though we knew about this for a whole week. No, but I did, like during the week I was like, you know, thinking about these subjects and stuff, and today I just kind of finalized it, but I'd say, do you want to do this?
Yeah, go for it.
Alright.
I'm ready.
Let's dive right in. So on the topic of smoking weed, first of all, I just kind of want to know, like, how long did you smoke for? And yeah, like when did it start?
I think I smoked my first joint when I was, I think I was 16. I'm 24 at the time of this recording, so that would mean it's been 8 years. Now I did take a couple of breaks, but like detox months or whatever you want to call them. So it's not like I've been smoking continuously. But right now I'd say it's like maybe once a week I would smoke a joint or a CBD joint. There doesn't even need to be THC in there. I don't know, I kind of stepped away a little bit from it as I found myself being not as productive. It was like overtaking my life. I have quite an addictive personality, so when I do something, I like to go all in, and it was quite the same with smoking. I even quit smoking tobacco as well. I think 3-4 weeks ago now. So I cut it all off because I don't know, I didn't saw the purpose of it. It just negative things, maybe some minor stress relief in the short term, but I didn't see the advantage of regular smoking, so I just cut it off cold turkey from one day to another. This has also been quite good. I feel better now. I feel healthier.
That's good. That's really, really good. I mean, I myself have, in a certain way, also, well, not really stopped. I still smoke a lot, but kind of made the change to CBD instead. And it definitely, like you said, it definitely helps, because just smoking weed, it really just fucks with your mental.
Yeah.
Of course, depending on the strain, what you're smoking, but just in general, like, you tend to feel lazy, less motivated. Exactly like you said, basically, so tired as well. Exactly. So, and it kind of gets to a point as well where if you smoke a lot, like daily, you feel like, at least this was like in my case, like every time I wanted to do something, I couldn't do it before I had another smoke.
Yeah.
Right. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna, I don't know, fucking do the dishes or some shit. But before I do the dishes, first I'm gonna roll one. After I'm done with the dishes, I'm gonna have some food. Okay, all good. Eat something. First thing you do after eating, have another smoke. So it kind of really just fucks with your entire day schedule. And
yeah, and I also found that the way it starts out is like usually starts out as like a group thing, or like it's not even social pressure. It's just something you do as a not even as a group activity, but just something that results after doing a group activity. So you could go and do some sports, or I don't know. And then you're at a barbecue with your friends together, and then someone would light a joint, and then you smoke it together. But then soon I found this whole activity part just kind of drops, and the activity starts to become just smoking. Like this in its own starts to be the activity, and that's when it starts to get dangerous, I find.
Exactly.
There's nothing wrong with having a smoke from time to time, but you do need to realize when you're just having a smoke, or after you've already done something, or like so it's not like a planned, I don't really know how to put it, but it's not like a planned activity. That's a dangerous line to cross. Well, dangerous, it's not like you're gonna die.
No. Yeah, exactly. And it really, like I said, it messages with your schedule and all that, so it kind of, you become dependent on it to a certain extent. Certainly. So hold that thought. It's actually something that we'll come back to in just a little bit. I want to touch upon your very first joint. I don't know if you still remember it.
Yeah.
You do? So what was that like? Do you still remember the first feeling?
Yeah, it was not much, to be honest. I think it wasn't that heavy. I mean, the taste was quite strange. I wouldn't say I enjoyed it. It just was a new experience. But I didn't get high or something, or maybe I didn't know what to expect. Maybe my expectations were that I don't know, would hallucinate or something, or I don't know, truly feel like a major change. But that's not the case. It's just you get very relaxed, and maybe because I was as excited. Yeah, I would say excited. I was curious, so I think my adrenaline kind of shot up because of that, and then because the THC just calms you down, nothing really happened, because that's actually what it feels like to be high. It's like it just not much. So maybe that's why I remember it as not feeling anything.
So you weren't feeling sick either?
Well,
that's kind of, I mean, not strange, but that's good for you, I would say, because a lot of people have that first experience where they feel kind of sick, actually. Because I remember when I think about my first experience, I was in the third grade, in not the school that we both went to, but the one on the other side.
Prior to that, yeah.
I was there, and I remember just feeling like a total misfit, so to speak.
Because you felt sick.
No, like in general.
Just in the school, yeah.
Yeah, in the school I felt like a total misfit. And I remember when I had my first joint, that I pretty much spent like the entire afternoon in like the school sick bed. I was feeling so nauseous actually, and yeah, it wasn't the best feeling, which is kind of strange. So, especially like, you know, you'd think if you have an experience like that, you wouldn't exactly try it again or whatever.
Yeah, you would stay away from it.
Yeah, exactly. But well, that didn't happen.
So what did happen then?
What do you mean, like when I first had my joint?
Yeah. What did it feel like?
Well, like I said, I was feeling very, very nauseous, and I was kind of I was kind of scared as well, because I mean, it was like a huge anxiety attack for myself, because I remember like being very paranoid. Are my teachers gonna notice anything? I had no idea what to expect. Like, how long is this feeling going to last? Because it was near the end of like the school day as well, so my parents were about to come pick me up from school. So I was like, is this feeling gonna last like the whole day? Is my mom gonna suspect anything?
Yeah, what am I gonna say
Teachers
to
gonna
my
suspect
parents?
anything? Exactly. So I was just super paranoid, and I think that kind of amplified the sickness.
Yeah, probably.
Exactly. Like if you're feeling, and this is something just in general with like drugs in general, like if you're feeling well when you're using, generally, you know, you can expect the trip or whatever to be good. But then, like, if you're already feeling kind of paranoid and already feeling kind of anxious, don't do drugs, because
Yeah, it's a bad idea.
that's gonna fuck you up entirely. So and this kind of brings us back to the point where I was saying, like, you'd think if you have an experience like that, you would kind of stray away from it. But for you, how did the amount that you were smoking like gradually progress? At what point? Because obviously you didn't like have your first joint and then the day after you didn't buy like 10 grams.
Yeah,
so how did that come about? How did you start smoking more?
It's a very gradual process. It like increases with small increments, proportionally. Like, but because your proportions get bigger, a small increment of a bigger proportion starts to be a lot. Like, it accumulates really, really fast. In the beginning, it's you know, these graphs when you see like exponential growth. It's like quite small, maybe I don't know, once a month or once every 2 months. I don't know, once every 2 weeks, and then I don't know, you give yourself some rules like only in the weekends, and then you say to yourself, well, when school's finished, it's kind of like a weekend, or I don't know, you have something to celebrate. You know, you find excuses. You just lie to yourself, basically, which we all do all the time.
Sure.
Just try to catch yourself while doing so. So it's not like there's this one day where I woke up and I decided to smoke more. It just kind of naturally unfolded. Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, I would say, well, for me it was pretty much the same, exactly. So it just kind of gradually builds up, which, so, and this, yeah, so I guess it gradually built up, and I guess one of the main reasons is because during our school breaks, you know, the school that we both went to, there was a lot of people smoking pretty much the entire time, and I guess that kind of added to it.
Yeah, we went to an art school, so like this very stereotypical hippies, all green art school kind of thing. It's true. I don't know now, but back when we went there,
Times
the stereotypes are there for a reason.
Yeah, 100%. And it's kind of wild, and this is something that we'll touch upon in just a minute as well, but like, it's kind of wild when you really think about it, the amount of people in our grade that were involved with drug usage, smoking during breaks and stuff like that. Like, it's crazy when you think about it. Like,
yeah, I don't think it's normal. I mean, I don't think it's
certainly not.
Yeah.
Like, you can say there's the stereotypes, but I really think we were kind of pushing those boundaries.
We were pushing the stereotypes.
Really, really did.
Do you think you kind of wanted to live up to the stereotypes yourself?
Personally, no, because I mean, you do think about maybe this is like wrong on my end, of course, but like when I think about art school, I think about have you seen Fame, the movie or the film?
No, I've not seen it.
Or I mean, High School Musical, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, I've seen it. I'm guilty.
To be fair, they're not bad movies in a way. No, but like when I thought about art school, I really had this idea of like people fucking starting dancing on tables and stuff during the school breaks. So that was kind of my idea.
Okay, yeah.
That was like the stereotype I had in mind. Like, you know, there's people with cameras everywhere, you know, taking photographs, and then there's the dance people who are dancing on tables, and that's gonna be art school. But no, like in my opinion, art school, or at least the school that we went to, art breaks and stuff like that, it was really just we were a bunch of druggies.
Yeah. Say I don't know if it's true, but how I remember it is like 80% of the students would be drug addicts actually.
Yep. At the very least.
But maybe it's perception. Maybe the way you remember things are slightly different.
Because they are like the people we hung out with.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's definitely true. Like, it's pretty much the only thing we saw because we chose to hang out with those people. So yeah, no.
How was your first day at our school actually? Do you remember it? Because I remember it quite vividly.
What, you remember my first day or yours?
No, mine.
Okay.
I don't remember yours. No, I don't remember yours.
That's a really good question, actually. My first day, I remember being. Well, for me it was a mentality change, because of course the school that I went to before that, the one across, that was basically like an economics school. So a lot of those people were like kids from what's the word? Zelfstandig.
Yeah, their parents were like business owners.
Yeah, exactly. Parents
local
were businesses.
owners. Yeah.
So a lot of like rich kids, spoiled kids, stuff like that. So that's kind of, I had to adapt that year because, like I said, I really didn't feel like I was in the right place. But I really tried to adapt myself to that school and like those kind of people.
Yeah.
So the first day when I then got to the art school, I really just had to entirely adapt myself again, and it was kind of like a culture shock, so to speak.
Plus you get all these hormones running through your body already. With you're a big mess already anyways.
Yeah, exactly, like 14-year-old, 15-year-old, something like that.
Yeah.
So no, it was quite the change. But I mean, I did like it. I first day of school, I like met you, I think.
It could be.
You and I don't know, we'll bleep out some names.
Yeah.
No, I met you guys, and you guys were very welcoming, and yeah, I mean, it was alright. How about yours?
Yeah, I went to the school and I had one friend on the school. I think one, maybe two. I'm not sure, but one for sure. And this friend was studying a different grade. I decided to go for. It's called audio visual formation. When you translate it, I'm not sure if it's something you can study internationally, but basically what did it contain? It was mainly photography, videography, like the basics of camera work. And just I remember walking through the gates, obviously not knowing anyone. I was quite an awkward kid, quite introvert. Very poor social skills, and I saw these metalheads when I walked into the school. I was like, what was this? It was a guy with purple hair, like a purple mohawk. I was like, what the hell's going? Like, I came from quite a strict school myself, and it was quite a culture shock. And then you had all these groups, like the metalheads or punks, or I don't know what they were called, but I saw them. They were the first ones I encountered. I was really intimidated actually, but they were just nice people. It's just they were going to school, so were you. It's just they were there, but I don't know. I just felt intimidated by them standing there. And then I saw some hippies hanging around, and then some other, like, you had all these small groups. Like the party animals as well. You could see it, like all the classical stereotypes were there, and that's what I mostly remember of my first experience in our school.
Yeah. No, I kind of feel that. You know, it's also another stereotype, but like a lot of the metalheads, they're very, very nice people. They just kind of look intimidating.
Mm-hmm.
But no, they're very nice people for sure. So on the topic of like smoking during school breaks and stuff like that, like of course we would smoke during breaks. We would I mean, you definitely had a lot of like assignments that you could do outside of school.
Outside the class, yeah.
So I mean, I'm only assuming because I didn't, we weren't in the same
Class.
taking the same class, but I'm only assuming that you guys smoked during those assignments as well.
Yeah.
So one thing
Sorry,
that
teachers.
if you're watching this, it's too late now.
We turned out fine.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, definitely did. But yeah, so like smoking during those breaks and during the assignments, did you feel like, at the time, was it, I mean, not really a detriment, but did it help you while doing those assignments?
Oh no, not at all. No, I wouldn't say so. Yeah, I think I would lie to myself that I needed it for inspiration or that I felt more, I don't know, more focused or something. But I wouldn't say it helped me. And it's also not something I would do now in order to get creative. Maybe the thing with creativity and getting inspiration for ideas or photos is like they just pop up. So smoking can help for this if you are in a relaxed environment and you just want to, I don't know, zone out or get comfortable, then yes, it can help, but it's not that you need it in order to start your creative process, and especially not to act it out. Maybe to get the initial spark it might help, but I don't think being high as a cameraman helps you in a way. I wouldn't say so.
That's very interesting actually, because I definitely feel like, I mean, you're definitely right about the whole like lying to yourself part.
Mm-hmm.
Is I always would tell myself, it'd be easier to relax and stuff like that in class and kind of like memorize, help memorize stuff, but it's definitely not true. Yeah, no. All right, well, this is actually a very fun topic, but like on the topic of smoking at school and stuff like that, we've met quite a few different dealers. Some of them I'll probably never forget, but I want to hear like your experiences about like different dealers and how we would acquire weed back in the day.
I'm just gonna restart the cameras real quick because we hit the 27-minute mark, and then I'll answer your question. So when you bring this question up, one of the first things that pop into my mind is the most intimidating dealer or something, or I don't know what to call it, but the most memorable dealer, let's call it this way. I never even met the guy. That's like some Hollywood blockbuster shit. Like he had a nickname. His nickname was God. And I never got to see the guy. It was always a different person bringing me this stuff, and then I had to give the money to this random person, and then they would be gone for 30 minutes. I don't know, quite strange. All I knew is sometimes he was in town, sometimes he wasn't, and very very strange. I would never give my money again to a person I don't even meet. So that's quite fun. But then you have the opposite as well. You just had some friends who you just go to. I don't know. They would just always have something laying around. So it was quite a wide variety of different dealers. But this one character, God, just the ego the guy must have, or woman, I don't know. At the end of the day, I never met the person. So the ego this person must have had to just call themselves God. It's quite interesting.
Oh, that's amazing. I've never even heard of this person, so that's wild. The two that stand out for me the most was Hank. I don't know if you remember.
Yes.
Hank.
It's one of my first
The
dealers.
guy with the stroller.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there was this guy who like he knew perfectly when the school breaks were, so he would always show up during school breaks, and he had his wife with him, and a stroller with his newborn daughter or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's quite messed up, actually.
It really is when you think about it. But he would just go for a stroll in the park because we had a lovely park outside of the school that we would all hang out in. So he would go for a stroll with his, baby, his wife, and he was dealing. He was selling weed, and his weed was hidden underneath his newborn baby.
It's disgusting. Yeah, to all of the fresh parents listening, please don't do this.
don't
Yeah.
ever. It might work. You might get away with it, but just morally, there's something there that's not exactly right.
Yeah, just go for a regular stroll with your kids, please.
And it would just like baffle me because the guy was like, what, 30, 35, 40, I actually have no idea, but just selling weed to a bunch of like 14, 15-year-olds.
It's really messed up.
It's crazy to think about. And then another one that I do remember, which was actually hilarious, there was, what was the church called close to our school? St. Jacob's?
Yes.
Yeah.
St. Jacob's.
Saint Jacob's. Famous for the Saint Jacob's
Yeah. Famous for being Jacob,
Good old Jacob. Yeah, so you had an antique store, like right across. Do you remember that one?
Yeah.
That was hilarious. It was just like a regular old antique shop at the front.
Wow.
And they would you could go there and then they would sell weed in the back basically, and they would just like put it in these coffee filters.
I never went there myself. I only heard the stories.
Yeah, I mean they would rip us off occasionally. There was a couple of times where we definitely didn't get enough, but
I think he got closed down by the police. I remember him. I'm not sure if they got closed down or the guy got fired. Maybe I'm not sure, but I remember some rumor. But again, might be rumors. I never went there myself, so.
Yeah, that's good God, that one hit. Yeah, no, that's definitely one that I'll always remember. So
It's crazy.
it really is. Like when you think back about it now, the amount of people that we just blindly trusted with quite a lot of money when you think about it.
Did you ever get? Okay, I have two questions. The first one: did you ever get ripped off?
Yeah, more than once.
Yeah. Yeah, and then the second one is: did you ever encounter a dealer with weapons?
Me personally,
Yeah.
no, but I have heard stories, and of course you could say they're stories. But these people that told me those stories, they're good friends. I don't think they don't have any reason to lie about it. There's a park in Kent, Citadel.
Famous for the rapists.
Famous for rapists. There's stories about murders. I don't know if those are true, but
But Ghent is a nice city though. It's just this one park that has
exactly.
this,
just avoid it during nighttime, pretty
Yeah.
much.
yeah, especially naked.
Especially. I mean, well, depends on the person, I guess. But yeah, maybe that will work in your favor. They would be like, "Holy shit, this guy's crazy. Let's get out of here." No, but like, yeah. There's this one park, and one friend especially who lived nearby. He had a dealer that he would meet up. I mean, I guess it wasn't really the dealer that had a weapon, but they both kind of got robbed like one time where they met up at the park. They just about like done their transaction. They were just about to say goodbye and then head off again when two people showed up. One dude apparently had a knife, and they kind of both got robbed. So not exactly the dealer, but
Okay, that's kind of messed up.
yeah, it really is. I mean, it is a sketchy world, like all things considered. Like I said, we really just blindly trusted people. But I mean, it is a sketchy world in the end. So how about you, though?
Yeah, I had a few instances. I used to have one dealer who always had this baseball bat laying around. He never really grabbed for it or anything. I think he just put it there to intimidate you and to play mind games with you.
Was that at his house?
Yeah, it was at his place.
Okay.
So he had it laying around, and then chairs-wise as well, he'd always sit on a higher chair than you. Something I noticed. I think it was just to again intimidate you and to literally look down on you. Not that he had bad intentions, but just to show that he would be the dominant person in the room. I hope he's become a psychologist because he was quite good at playing these mind games. And in a different occasion, I don't even remember the person, but I stepped into a car of a dealer or a running man or running guy, whatever they're called. And there was this machete laying in his car for no. I'm not sure if it's a real one. Just I was sitting in the back seat and it lay next to his handbrake, just so you would see it. Not sure what he would have done with the machete in the car, but it was like, oh, okay, what's going on over here?
It's all fun and games until the cops show up.
Yeah, crazy. But I never got hurt or anything, luckily.
And I guess you got ripped off a couple of times as well.
Oh yeah, we all did.
I mean, prices were like quite expensive when you think about it back in the day. And that's another thing, right? Like, if you do get ripped off, like, what are you gonna do about it?
Yeah, nothing.
Can't go to the cops.
You're gonna call your insurance.
You call the cops, yeah, dude, I just got ripped off.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. So, Dario, thinking back about, all the times that you've smoked weed, what are some of your best and worst experiences that you can think of, like, generally, feelings that you've had, or,
Well, let's start maybe with the worst, because they are more prominent in my mind. I think when I reached age 17 or 18, I was about to graduate from art school. Then I kind of hit rock bottom. And I'm pretty sure smoking weed on a daily basis, and then it not being one joint, but I think at one point I was smoking 2-3 grams a day. I was in this very dark mind space, and I also hit puberty quite late, so both were kind of mixed, which is a very bad combo. And I just was very unhappy. Looking back, maybe it was a depression, or like a struggle that every young person has, like trying to find yourself or trying to understand yourself. But that's, for me, it was like my low point in my life, as like feeling wise. I was in a very dark thoughts. Not that I was gonna commit suicide or something, but just very unhappy, and I guess a lack of purpose in life. And I think smoking contributed to it, because you're not gonna find a purpose by sitting at home or in a park just lighting a new joint. So that would be my more negative thoughts. I wouldn't really say one in particular, but it's that like the overarching period. And then let's see, best memory. Well, I had some good parties. We used to hang out at this half pipe. A friend of mine had like a half pipe in this very dodgy empty warehouse kind of style. It's not really a building. There was a roof.
Big garage.
Yeah, but huge garage. Yeah, you've probably been there yourself.
I've been there a couple of times.
Yeah, that's quite a nice period, because that's where we also smoked quite a lot, but it was more like a social gathering kind of like a coffee shop kind of. Maybe.
People were skating on the half pipe, listening to some music.
Yeah, I'd say my better memories smoking would be there. It was quite cool.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to agree. I kind of miss those. Well, in a certain way, I kind of miss those times. They were definitely happy and uplifting days.
Do you actively miss them?
That's a good question.
Or do you miss them in a nostalgic way? Like, those were good times.
Definitely in a nostalgic way, yeah. I don't think I would go back to those
Yeah.
days, but yeah, generally more like nostalgia and just thinking back. Though, I mean, we, can't lie about it. We had some good times there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, definitely enjoyed it. I think for me personally, worst experiences. I mean, there's not. I mean, I haven't really had like any purely negative experiences.
Mm-hmm.
There's definitely been a couple of times where I'd smoked too much, and then
Oh yeah, of course.
there's always those times where you just feel like a literal bag of potatoes.
Yeah, especially if you mix it up with alcohol, it's
Exactly, like things go down south very fast. I remember some house parties with, for example, there's been a couple of times where we stayed there and then things got very messy, very messy. And like when it gets to the point where you're actually like throwing up and stuff like that, that's kind of. So yeah, I mean that's kind of like, I'd say, it feels bad calling it like worst experiences because like when you really think about it, it could have been much worse than that. So I mean they're definitely not my most fond memories for sure.
I see.
But like in terms of best experiences, I mean I'd kind of have to say the same, really, like the whole nostalgia thing with like hanging out at the half pipe, just kind of having those social gatherings, hanging out with friends, chilling, smoking. One in particular, really good friend of mine, like we our as fucked up as it sounds, honestly, but like our we are really close friends, and our kind of friendship was built upon meeting each other, just having like this one. I mean, we had multiple things in common, but this in particular, and that kind of really made us grow closer as friends and stuff like that. So that's one thing where I think back and that's like that's cool, I guess. Some really good friends I made while being high, I suppose.
yeah.
So I mean that's definitely thinking back. So lastly, are there any things like anecdotes that you can think of, maybe like this one thing that happened while you were being high, or just like funny stories or whatever, anything that you can think of that stands out maybe?
Let me see. Yeah, I have.
Coming with these hard-hitting questions.
I have one. I have quite a cool one. I did this road trip with a good friend of ours. We both know him, actually. You probably know who I'm talking about. And I just got my driving license. It took me like 2 years to pass my driving license test, and I had to take shitloads of extra lessons. I didn't make it. I failed a couple of times, but I finally got it. And as soon as I got my official driving license, we just left on this road trip. But first stop was Amsterdam, so we went to buy a little bit of different flavors of weed. And when I say a little bit, I mean a little bit too much to be crossing borders for the next couple of weeks, because it was a 4 week trip.
Did you guys buy enough for the entire trip?
Yeah. We bought more than enough for the entire trip. No, I think we ended. We kind of timed our road trip around the amount of weed we had left. So it was like, okay, this is starting to go fast. Maybe we should move a little bit. But it lasted us 3 weeks, and I think we crossed like 7 or 8 borders. No border control, luckily. That's probably one of the best memories. So we'd be smoking as well in all these different hotel rooms. I think I still have some clips that we shot, like some small video footage of just smoking in a random hotel room out of the window, like. So that's probably one of the better memories, thinking back on it. What about yourself?
Oh, actually, I didn't expect this question to fire back.
Uh-huh.
I think My most no, I've got two actually.
Okay.
There's two that I think back to like very very fondly. One of them is definitely with a friend.
Yeah.
We were at a festival tour, and we decided to skip because there was like, you know, the festival came to an end and there was like one more concert
Yeah.
before everything was gonna close down. People obviously could sleep the night on the camping site, but then the next day the festival was gonna be over. So there was this last concert, and then after the concert there was a fireworks display, and there was our mutual friend. He was there as well, and he really wanted to see that concert. So he went to it, and we told him that we would come after him after a while.
Yep.
We were just gonna kind of chill on the camping site and then head to the festival. But it turns out, we were just we actually had really our camping site, because there were 4 different ones. Our camping site was actually really really close to the festival grounds, so we kind of had like front row seats basically to the whole
Yeah.
the fireworks display. So we just ended up getting really really high and just sitting back in our lounging chairs watching the fireworks, and it was a beautiful moment. Thinking back, I still think back about it. We had our own music, he had his speakers.
Yeah.
So we were just kind of listening to our own music. The camping site was completely empty. Everyone was at that concert. So we were just kind of chilling there.
You had the whole camping site for yourselves.
Exactly. We were just like sharing that bro moment. I think we rolled, like, we had those like rolling papers that you can like extend.
Yeah.
So we just ended up rolling like a huge joint. And
Oh my god.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't remember exactly how much went in it, but I want to say like at least 10 grams probably.
Yeah, I could never smoke one of these again. I don't think I could finish it.
Probably not now. I probably couldn't anymore. But I mean, even when you think back about it, like during those school breaks and stuff, the amount, like, when you really really think about it, the amount of weed that we smoked during breaks.
Yeah, sometimes 2-3 joints in a 45-minute break.
At the very least.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So, and you'd have each, because you had like 6 people sitting there, and everyone would roll like 2-3 joints. So that was like 18 joints being passed around the entire time.
Yeah, it was not Corona proof at all.
Yeah, I mean, imagine.
Yeah,
Imagine.
it's crazy.
Those were crazy times. Really, really were. So, Kamera Chekhov.
Let's see. Oh, we got 7 minutes.
Alright. Okay, so now I want to dive into some of like the harder stuff. So, Dario, on the topic of hard drugs, so now we're gonna talk about those for a minute. You've experimented with them, right?
Yeah, only twice actually. Twice the same drug as well, where they were mushrooms.
Okay. So no ecstasy, MDMA,
No.
Amphetamines in general.
No, never did. Maybe I'm not sure, but I might have.
I vaguely remember. Oh, hold on. I'll let you finish.
Yeah, I might have smoked cocaine. Is it possible to smoke it? Yeah, right.
It definitely is.
Yeah. See, that's how little experience I have with hard drugs. But I remember being passed one. It was actually after work. I was already working in hotel entertainment, so I was at one of these hotels, and one of the guests passed me what they said was a cigarette, but it kind of tasted funny. I did already drink a couple of beers.
It has a very sharp taste.
Yeah, but I didn't think much of it. No, it was a roll up. And I kind of remember my heart pounding for the rest of the night. And he was joking that it wasn't just tobacco in there, but I think it maybe was cocaine. But
And definitely something people do. I wouldn't recommend it. Like, personally, I feel like it's a bit of a waste of good coke. But I mean, surely you can do it. So I mean, that definitely makes things a little bit easier. There's a couple of these topics that I kind of stray away from, but I'm curious. So, like, your first time when you tried shrooms, can you tell us more about it? Like,
yeah, for sure. It was actually at this half pipe venue. And one of our friends, I don't remember who, went to buy them in a coffee shop in the Netherlands, as we live quite close to it, for like 1-2 hour drive. So he went to grab some mushrooms. I remember eating them, and first of all, they taste kind of funny, but they don't really taste like much, more like nuts. Just they have this very strange structure.
I would say kind of like cardboard.
yeah. And then the first thing I noticed, like right away, was my cheeks kind of got numb from chewing on them. But that was about it, and this feeling faded away after a couple of minutes, and then you just wait. And I remember sitting in the sofa. Like, well, so what's gonna happen for the rest of the night? Because not everybody took them, but let's say like, I don't know, 2 out of 3 people took them. So we had a couple of, well, I wouldn't say sober, but less intoxicated people around. We're supposed to be responsible young adults. And I was waiting, and nothing happened. So I remember eating a little bit more, because I was like, yeah, it's probably not gonna happen. I don't know how much time passed, but it does take some time for your stomach to absorb the mushrooms. And I was looking at the person who was sitting in front of me, and their his or her, I don't remember who it was, nose. What are they called? Like these little
Nostrils?
things. Yeah, the sides of his or her nostrils started to like go up and down. I was like, that's kind of a strange thing to do, but I mean, why not? So I looked at a different person, and he or she was doing the same thing with his or her nose, and then I went through all the faces in the room, and everyone was apparently moving their nostrils. What's this? But I didn't think much of it, but it did catch my attention. And then these nostrils started to become the entire nose, starting to curl. You know, one of these face effects you can do on your, I don't know, your phone, or exactly, this weird face. It was just the nose, and then it wasn't stationary. It was just moving in this S kind of shape. And then the nose started to turn into the entire face, like very gradually. Like, holy shit, what's this? Everybody's face was like turning, and it was very disturbing actually. But I found it funny at the time. I was like, what's this? I was laughing my ass off, but kind of scared at the same time. But it was funny because it looked like everybody had these filters on. And after this. That's when things start to get a little vague. I don't remember much, but one thing I remember is I had a lot of deja vus. So the easiest way I would explain it is my memory would only consist of what I see. I kind of lost sense of time. So let's say I would look at you, and I see you sitting with these sunglasses, the necklace, and this shirt. And if I would look away and look at you again, I would remember that I've seen you sitting in this chair with these glasses and this chain and this shirt in this position already, but I wouldn't be able to connect these two moments it
would seem like an eternity away.
It would seem like it has already happened once, and then I had this strange deja vu feeling. But if it happens once, it's like, okay, that's fine. But you look away, and then you look again, and you look away, you look again. It happens 5 times, 10 times, 20 times. You're like, oh, holy shit, I've seen this before, and I started to go crazy actually on it. It was quite scary. And that's when I blacked out. I remember having, I remember going to bed there. I laid down. I was like, okay, I'm gonna sleep this off. But we're probably like, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours into the trip here. It's a really long trip of hundreds or maybe thousands of deja vus. And I was laying under my blanket, and I couldn't put my body into a comfortable position, so I would turn around and try and find my sleeping position. But every time I turned around, I was like, I've laid like this before, and I kept having deja vu. So I was like, what the hell is going on here? I was alone, and then I crawled out of the bed, and somebody found me outside. This I remember. Dragged me inside, literally dragged me. Oh, okay, I'm not a big guy or anything.
Wait, you ended up outside?
Yeah, I ended up outside. So they dragged me inside. They placed this bucket between my legs. Well, they put me in the sofa and they gave me this bucket just in case I had to vomit. Well, I was gonna vomit. It was clear at this point, but I couldn't hold the bucket. We have 3 minutes. I can do it. I couldn't hold the bucket. So they put the bucket between my legs on the floor, and I remember seeing the bucket. I was like, okay, if I need to vomit, I'm gonna aim for the bucket. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna be a successful man, and I'm gonna do this. I got this. I remember leaning forward and just missing the bucket completely, and that's the last thing I remember of the first time I ever tried shrooms.
Oh, lovely, lovely.
I'm just gonna cut real quick. And then the second time I tried it was actually quite cool. I was at this lake. I went camping to a lake with a couple of friends during summer, so it was quite nice weather for Belgium standards, so like 25 degrees, and no wind though. So and the sky, the night sky was clear, so we could see all the stars. Very nice. Our tents were put up literally next to the lake, so we were camping at the actual lake.
What lake was it, if you don't mind me asking?
Sorry?
What lake was it, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, I think it's called Visvever in Oostenrijk. Yeah. But it's not even a camping site. You're not supposed to camp there. But hey, we were rebellious teens, so why not? So we made a campfire, ate some marshmallows, probably maybe some hot dogs, stuff like this. And somebody brought shrooms, so I took them for a second time. I was like, okay, now I know I don't need to. Well, I thought I knew. I'm not supposed to overdose and just eat a little bit and then I wait. And this time was better actually, because I already knew what to expect more or less. But I was a bit anxious because I had a bad trip the last time. So I was a bit anxious, and that's dangerous. You shouldn't take shrooms when you're feeling anxious. But I was young and I didn't know at the time, so I just took it and I waited, and it started to kick in. I started to feel it, like I started to giggle a little bit. There were no wavy nostrils or noses this time, so I went outside and I remember looking at the lake and I was like, oh, I felt this inner calmness, like I felt like the best way to describe it is I felt like I was God standing at the edge of the universe, as in the lake being the universe, because you saw the reflection of this beautiful night sky and the moon on the lake, and it seemed like there was no horizon, like you were just standing at the edge of the universe, like there's universe beneath you, above you, in front of you, on the side, like there was just universe and you, and I was like, oh,
that sounds incredible.
I think I just stood there gasping at the night sky and the lake for maybe 2 hours, maybe longer. I just feeling like God, basically. And then I saw this tree. It was a willow. I remember because I looked at this tree. I actually noticed it in the reflection of the water. I was like, "Oh, what is this?" I got distracted and I looked at this willow, and he looked a bit uncomfortable. I gave him human traits. I found him to be a bit awkward. It was curled up a little bit. I don't know. He stood like in a very. It felt like he wasn't feeling comfortable, and he was saying I don't feel so good, like and then of course, because it's a willow, you have these long small parts, like they're basically stakes, I guess, but they kind of grow down, or maybe it's the leaves, and they hang down, and it kind of felt like they were all like fingers, like this tree standing in this awkward position with his fingers standing down, and I looked at the tree and I was like, ooh. It seems like a rather uncomfortable tree. I wouldn't want to be this tree, and I kind of felt sorry for the tree. But here's where things went wrong, because I started to focus so much on this tree after having this amazing experience standing at the side of the lake. And I started to have a bad trip on this tree. And I started to I kind of wanted to help the tree, I guess, but I didn't really know how, because it's so massive, and I mean, how the hell are you even supposed to make a tree feel better? And that's where things went pretty bad, and I think I slipped into the dirt and I just puked on the spot, like. And I don't remember.
Like Team America for 5 minutes.
Yeah, and afterwards I don't remember much, but it's kind of, yeah, it was a better experience. Overall, I think back at that experience as more positive, and I think it was quite cool. But I remember afterwards, like the day after, I kind of felt disgusting. Well, one, because I slipped into the dirt, I puked, I slept outside at this random lake. I didn't take a shower or anything. Partly this is why, but also partly because I had this what do you call it, like realization. What are you looking for?
Filters.
Oh. Yeah, but I had this realization and I'm quite proud actually to have realized this at that age, because I think I was 17 at the time, realizing that, okay, this is very nice, and I understand why people can get addicted to it, because the experience is so immersive and so new and so joyful. But I immediately realized that you will lose other joys in life just because you would. I could see why people chase this kind of joy and kind of fall out of society. Not even like fall, but they just kind of glide out of society, and you very easily slip away from what you would consider a happy life or a purposeful life. And so I immediately realized it. I was like, okay, and I might do this again at one point in my life, but right now I'm not strong enough to want to try, to be trying this again and not slip into this kind of life. And I was like, I already realized that I had an addictive personality and that I was not the person to try this.
It is definitely very, very beautiful, the whole experience, if you have a good one. Certainly I 100% agree with that. I think for me personally, I'll touch on hallucinogens in just a second, because that was actually a point that I was leading to, but you kind of... I wasn't expecting, because I could have sworn that you tried ecstasy or MDMA at some point.
No, never.
That's crazy. That really is. I don't know why I'm thinking that. Maybe because my first experience with hard drugs was ecstasy, and it was actually at a party at the half pipe.
Yeah. That's very possible.
So maybe that's why I'm just thinking back about the half pipe, and I'm thinking about you maybe, but I don't know why. But there was basically a party, like a sleepover. We had some tents outside and stuff like that, and we basically, everyone, I think there was like 5 or 6 people, maybe something like that, and we were all like sitting around the campfire. We also had some barbecue and stuff like that, so everyone was just eating, and we had called our dealer before we started eating. and he promised us that he would show up afterwards.
Yeah, but no time, obviously.
Yeah, exactly. So we were all, we finished eating, we were all happy, we were all looking forward to the weed delivery. It was going to be a good, fun night. But, time passed, no dealer showed up. And, we called him, he didn't pick up. And then I think it was very strange because like 20 minutes later or something, he just called us back and he was like super angry because we kept calling him. And we were like, dude, you said you were going to show up, so that's why we're calling you to see if, everything's all right. And I was like, yeah, no, don't fucking call me, I'm busy, I'm not going to show up tonight. It's like, oh, well, sure, dude, whatever. So that kind of like brought the entire mood down for the party, and everyone's like, well, shit, like what are we going to do now, right? Like, we can't have fun without you.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds stupid, but yeah, thinking about it, that's kind of
The way it went.
the way it went, exactly. So, yeah, I mean, we started thinking, everyone was like looking for their phone book, looking to see if they knew anyone else that could fix something. So, that went on for like 10 minutes, and all of a sudden some guy went, hey, I mean, I don't know another person that can fix weed, but I know a guy that can fix ecstasy. And there was a couple who were already like more experienced, people from the skate park who were more
A bit older as well, probably.
a little bit older as well, yeah. So they've had some experience, and they were like, yeah, sure, I mean, we'll go for it. And me and again were there as well, and we just kind of looked at each other like, well, shit, I mean, I'm not opposed to it, I suppose. Like, we're staying over here, what's the worst that can happen, right? Like, we can, if anything goes wrong, there's, we're surrounded by a bunch of good people. We're staying.
And they
right?
seem responsible as they're older than you, yeah.
Exactly, yeah. They seem responsible. They're older. They know what's going on. And like, we're staying the night here, so we don't have to worry about getting our ass back home at a later point. So we can just, yeah, sure, why not? So that was my first time, and I remember it being a very, very beautiful night. I mean, ecstasy, of course, like enhances those bro love feelings. So I definitely like shared some intimate, I suppose. Well, not really. I make it sound very wrong, but
Did you end up at the Citadel Park that night?
entirely naked, yes sir. But no, yeah, you know what I mean. Like, we ended up sharing some very like intimate moments, like sharing secrets. It was just a beautiful night, and like have some very, very extremely fun memories thinking back about that. It didn't go wrong at all. We just ended up feeling amazing. We partied for like, I don't know, maybe 3 hours or something like that, and then it gradually progressed. Like, the come down started happening, and then we were just very mellow because like we actually had saved some weed. A little bit that we didn't want to tell anyone because we were like, well, we're the only ones.
Yeah.
We were already like planning on saving it until the end, until most people were asleep. And we were like, yeah, if everyone's sleeping, we can roll a joint, and then something like that. So everyone pretty much like went to bed at a certain point, and me and were still awake. We were just chilling, having like the calm down, kind of riding it out. And decided to smoke a joint, and then I mean, yeah, it was just, everything felt incredible. Like, that whole night just felt, definitely one to remember for sure. And then when it comes to hallucinogens, I don't actually remember what my first time actually tripping was. I think it might be
Is the GoPro dying on us?
oh yikes. No, I think my first time tripping must have been in Stayski, the alleyway.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. How would you describe this alley to someone who's never been there?
Jesus Christ, dude. It's like, how big was it?
Not big.
It was
like twice the size of a regular living room.
I want to think maybe the front. So like, horizontally, it must have been like 5 meters, something, one side to the other.
Yeah. Width-wise, probably
width,
5 meters.
Like 5 meters, and then length
Tops.
like 20.
Yeah, maybe.
Because there was a bar at the back as well.
Yeah,
that was already taking up
maybe
some
with the
space.
backstage included.
Yeah, exactly. So you had like a bar in the back, and then you had the podium in the front, so that took away like at least 3 meters, I suppose.
Yeah.
So it was like 5 by, I want to say 15 probably, something like that.
Yeah, very small.
Party space, and then there's just a bunch of drug addicts. And
Yep.
I'm saying drug addicts, but I literally mean drug addicts.
Oh yeah, like the worst.
The worst of the worst you would find there. And then
Just to give you an idea, I remember on these posters when they would have an event going on, it would explicitly have a sign saying "No dogs allowed."
they were so well aware. Like the things I've seen there. That's something I'll touch upon in a bit as well. But like,
It was like security was obligated on a party, because I remember this being a problem there, that they had to hire security there.
That's another thing, like, because you had Stayska, you know, the inside of the building where everyone was partying and stuff, which is like a very cramped up space where everyone was sweating balls. And it smelled like fucking shit and puke. But I guess that didn't really matter if your nostrils were clogged up with other things.
It's disgusting.
But yeah, so you had like the inside of the building where everyone was partying, but then you had like the little entrance in front of it with the staircases, which is like the dodgiest thing that you can think of.
The stairway that leads to nowhere.
Exactly, like you had a bunch of like people who were dealing all sorts of stuff sitting on those stairways. You would just, you know, if you needed anything, you literally just went to Stayska, you would shout out, "Yo, does everyone have, or does anyone have X, or does anyone have this or that?" And there would be like 3 people showing up, like, "No, dude, 5 euros."
People would actually queue up to a dealer
literally,
there.
Literally.
The first time I entered the venue inside, like where the actual party was going on, I saw this woman, well, I don't know, female human being-ish, raising a cardboard panel from behind the DJ saying "Speed here." And I was like, "Oh, okay, well, welcome to Steakskin, I guess."
I remember one night when we were there. Also, I was like asking my friend, like, "Yo, do you have any pills, for example, or do you have any pills by any chance?"
Not the beer, right? Not the beer. Pills.
Yeah, no pills. Yeah, I'm not sharing those with friends. But yeah, no. So I asked him, like, "Do you have any pills?" And so he didn't have any. And I was like, "Oh shit, like, I want to, you know, go hard, I want to party, but I don't have anything." And he was like, "Yeah, sure, don't worry about it, dude." It was also like one of my first times that I actually was there. So he was like, "Yeah, sure, dude, don't worry about it." So he just randomly approached like a random ass dude right next to him, and he was like, "Yo, dude, do you know anyone who sells pills?" And the guy just kind of looked at him and he went, "Yo, does anyone have any pills?" Like, he just shouted it out, and all of a sudden there was like a guy like, "Yo, how many do you need?" Like, that shit was crazy. So yeah, my first time tripping, I think it was, like, don't quote me on this, but I think my first time tripping was actually there, because I don't know if you remember the like the graffiti, the eye in the back of the podium. It's a vague memory. I think we took it was me and a mate from my class, basically. I think we had 2CB, which is like kind of like ecstasy, but it has I'm not exactly sure on the components. Just fuck it.
Messed up shit inside.
It's kind of like X, but it makes you, you know, trip lightly. It's not like a very heavy trip or anything, but it just kind of messes with your visuals and stuff like that. And I just remember like the eye just kind of, you know, staring deep into my soul. That's like the main thing that I can remember. But aside from that, I had a couple of hallucinogenic experiences, and now that you mentioned the trees as well, like, just in general, I don't think tripping in or near a forest is a good idea, to be honest, unless you have balls of fucking steel. Like, one of my worst experiences, so to say, it was, I mean, it didn't last the whole experience, it was just like a very short part of that experience. But yeah, I went out camping with another friend. It was in a forest, actually. It was owned by a couple of other friends, and their dad had like a log cabin in the woods sort of thing. So we just went out camping.
It's quite cool, actually.
It was really fun. Like, it was quite impressive. Very nice environment and stuff like that. So that definitely kind of enhanced it. But yeah, it was pretty much in the middle of the forest. And I remember when, like, we had shrooms then. When that trip like really started kicking in at a certain point, I remember venturing into the woods, and I was all by myself at one point, because, like, you know, there were 2 other people, they were also tripping. and we were all like kind of in our own world, so to speak. Like everyone was kind of looking at other things. So I just started venturing forward, and I was like looking around, being marveled by everything. And you know, I kind of lost sense of time in a certain way. I knew I hadn't really gone, you know, too far. It hadn't been like hours or anything, but I kind of like remember looking around and being like, how long have I been walking for? Like, where the hell are they? And then I kind of like the panic kind of started settling in, and it wasn't a huge domain. Like, it's not like it was a huge forest or anything.
But it
was,
feels like it.
yeah, definitely. Like, you felt surrounded. It was in the dark, like darkest of the night, so you couldn't see shit, and just very like faint glimmer from the moon falling through the tree branches. And I remember like looking around and feeling like that you know, feeling of, you know, when you're a small kid, you know, in the supermarket, and all of a sudden like you lose your mom, for example.
Terrified.
Like, shit, where am I? Where are they? So I started like walking back in the direction where I thought, you know, the cabin was. Luckily I was heading in the right direction, but I just kind of started, you know, walking, and I didn't see them immediately. When all of a sudden it hit me, like I started just, I don't know how, but like I started hearing everything like more sharply and stuff like that. And I remember like with every step I took, I heard like the tree branches cracking underneath my feet.
Sounds like bones cracking.
Exactly. So when all of a sudden that realization hit, I just was like, I started looking around, and I'm like, I'm seeing all these trees, I'm seeing like these silhouettes, and I started feeling surrounded by people, I guess, but you know, they were trees obviously, but like I started looking around, I see like all of these dark figures standing around me, and I try to, you know, walk away from them, but every step just sounds like cracking, and I just look at my feet, and I see the silhouettes of the branches, and it literally looks like you're walking on, you know,
hands
bones and stuff, and hands, and so that kind of, everything went down real like south really bad. So I just started sprinting for my life, when all of a sudden, luckily not like, I don't know, a minute later or something, I found my friends again. They had heard me, so they were walking towards the sound as well. You know, they asked what happened. I kind of explained roughly, and I was like, we need to get the fuck out of here. I don't feel safe. This is way too freaky for me. We need to get out. So we then went out of the forest. Luckily it wasn't too far. Having them around me just kind of, you know, made me feel a bit safer. We came back to the side of the road, and there was a, you know, a road light. A lantern at the side of the road. So I just remember looking up, seeing the light, and then feeling relieved of all the scary feelings that just, you know, happened earlier. And I was like, this is incredible.
I found the light.
I'm seeing the light. This is amazing. So I remember just like staring at that lantern for like 30 minutes or something.
Oh man.
So yeah.
Actually, you remind me of a story. I once went to. So I didn't experiment a lot myself with hard drugs, but I do have quite a few friends who did. And I had this one friend in particular who was really experimenting with it. Well, let's say he's quite experienced with it, and we were on this party. It was more like a rave, but a legal rave. And he had a new girlfriend at the time, and he wanted to bring her to the party as well, so they could have some fun together. But during the party, this guy, I think someone asked him if he wanted to buy some sort of drugs. I think it was ketamine. I'm not sure what it is in English. Yeah, ketamine. And so he was gone. He's like, yeah, I'll be back in a minute. I'm just gonna go to the toilet and I'll be back. So we're like, okay. So I was standing here with this guy's girlfriend. Also, the guy was, I think, 5-6 years older than me. So it's not like, you know, I was at the time maybe 18, maybe 19, I don't think so. But let's say 18 oldest, so 5-6 years of difference at that age is quite a lot.
Yeah.
So the girl as well, she was older. She was a mom. She had 2 kids. Quite a nice girl, just bad life, and then not a strong personality. So life easily walked over her. And so this guy was gone. So I was like, yeah, he'll be back in a minute. And she was like, yeah. It's kind of awkward because we didn't really know each other, but it's like, I can't really leave her because we came together to the party, but I don't really know the girl. I also have no intention to get too close because, you know, this one guy is kind of messed up, so he doesn't want you to be too close to his girlfriend, but then he leaves you with the girl. Yeah, it was kind of weird. So like, yeah, so let's dance a little bit. Had 0 dance moves. And I looked at my clock, 30 minutes. Okay, it's quite a long time, 45 minutes, an hour and a half. And then she starts getting more and more pissed off, you know, like, oh, where the hell's my boyfriend? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. So all of a sudden he comes back completely wasted, like his eyeballs really wide, he's chewing on his cheeks, I guess. And he was like, oh my god, I've been in the most beautiful place I've ever seen. I was like, well, where did you go? Because I've been waiting with your fucking girlfriend the whole time. He was like, yeah, I was stuck in the toilet. So I looked at him, yeah. What do you mean I was like, yeah, it was so beautiful, man. This toilet was so beautiful, and I didn't find the exit, but I saw every tile on the wall, and I saw the sink, and I saw the floor. I don't know if you've ever inspected the toilet on a rave, but it's quite far from the most beautiful thing you've ever seen. As soon as possible. So this guy was stuck there for an hour and a half in the toilet, just taking in the beautiful room as it was, and moments like these they really like stuck with me, and I was like, okay, this stuff is really not healthy, and I shouldn't experiment with it. This doesn't mean, of course, that there aren't people who can control it. It's just I've seen what the downside can be, and I realized at a young age from having older friends that maybe it's not the best.
For sure. We're just kind of straying away from these. I guess a lot of these questions actually don't really apply to you too much, because I was going to ask about, like habits, at what point it started becoming a habit, but I've only done it twice, so it doesn't really apply to you too much. Craziest personal experience, you've kind of went over that. I guess the question that I wanted to ask as well was like the craziest general experience that you've seen. Like, are there any, but I guess the one you've described to a certain extent.
Oh no, there's one more from the same guy with the same girlfriend.
Sure.
He sniffed some cocaine. I don't know. There's this weird guy. Oh, the timer's done.
People.
Oh.
No.
So it was the same guy. We were at his place because he was 5-6 years older, so he already was living on his own, a job and stuff like this. And he liked showing off how big of a line of cocaine he could sniff. Like literally, he could sniff like 2-3 meters. Like I don't know, it's not really a thing to show off with, but at the time it was something to be impressed by, I guess. Regarding the reason of why it was impressive. And he was I'd seen him use cocaine a couple of times, and he wasn't a pleasant person to be around after he had used or taken in the cocaine. And he started to get very paranoid. That's how it started. Like, he didn't trust anything or anyone, or he would accuse you of stealing batteries from his remote control from the TV. Weird stuff. Like everything, he had to control everything. He kind of had this problem already when he was clean, but then just using drugs kind of amplified his behaviors. And this girlfriend of his was there as well. And he started to accuse her of something. I don't remember what it was, but it started escalating. And I was on the sofa and I saw it escalating. I was like, "Fuck! Okay, this is gonna probably end with him beating up the girl this is how it looks like. But I wasn't sure, of course, and this guy is under influence, so you want to be careful with how you handle it. You don't want to say it. You don't want to accuse him of something he hasn't done before, especially if he's being so paranoid already. But I saw them starting to fight, and he pushed her, and then she fell with her head on like the. Well, it's not like. It's not like he pushed her to hurt her. It's more like it happened and she fell. So it's not like he wanted to punch. Of course, he should have been more careful, and if he wouldn't have been under influence, this wouldn't have happened. But I can see he didn't have this as an intention. But nevertheless, it resulted in her, hitting her head on the table, like the corner of the table. I don't think she was bleeding, but she was like hurt pretty badly. So then, of course, she's scared of the guy, and I'm like, okay. I stepped up. Well, I jumped up actually when I saw it happening. I was like, okay, we're gonna take it easy. Took them apart. Then she starts crying and screaming, and he starts to be pissed off and probably scared. But because he doesn't know how to handle his emotions, being scared turned into more aggressive behavior. But I ended up kind of not really putting the girl out of the house, but making sure she left and she could go home, because there's no way they were gonna they were gonna have a pleasant night afterwards. And I was planning on going home that night. I wasn't gonna stay there. I'm gonna go, and I can't leave this situation with feeling good about leaving when they were still both in the house. But that's probably the one of the more fucked up situations. Like I saw the violence, and I was like, this stuff is really not my thing.
Yeah, for sure. I think for me, worst experiences.
Wait 1 second, because I just hear the car.
So, I was just about to say, like, my worst experience, there's definitely been a couple, and ones that, didn't involve myself. There's been a couple where, that did involve myself, but I guess they weren't exactly the worst. Definitely the things that opened my eyes the most there's two occasions, actually. One was at Stayska, the alleyway. I remember seeing a guy, like, so completely fucked off his face. Like, I don't know how much the guy had taken, but literally the guy couldn't even get up anymore. He must have been in a K-hole or some shit, like too much ketamine. I don't know what the guy had taken, but his friends literally had to drag him out. That's one thing I've seen where I was like, this is not okay, if you know what I mean. Like, it's all fun and games, but when you see things like that, it really opens your eyes, and it's like. And a similar thing actually happened at a dude as well. Same thing. There's been a couple of fights where two people who were completely mental, like completely under influence of a bunch of things, who went at each other for seemingly no reason. They kind of accused each other of, one dude accused the other guy of stealing or some shit, and it turned out that he literally just put it in his pocket or some shit, like. Seeing two people who went at each other, or exactly, like it must have been in his tent or something. Like, the guy wasn't obviously thinking straight, so he just accused some guy, and they literally went, like, it came to blows, and there was like, all of a sudden it actually turned out into a huge fight. Like, there was just two dudes accusing each other, and then one guy's friends jumped in, and then the other dude's friends jumped in, and before you knew, there were like 14 people, like 14 on each side fighting each other. So that was that's kind of wild, things like that. There's always the good, the bad, and the ugly, of course, but that's a prime example where I'm thinking back, and it's like, I'm happy none of those things personally happened to me, but it very well could have. Right.
Yeah. Do you still use hard drugs actually?
It's been a few years.
Or when was
now.
the last time? Yeah, I was about to say.
I think the last time was in Amsterdam. I went to Amsterdam 3 years ago
I remember.
with a friend, and funny story actually, very very funny story. We were in Amsterdam center. We just had we spent there we had spent the whole day there, kind of getting high, getting a taste of different coffee shops and stuff like that, and we wanted to go home or not home, to the hotel room, but we were too lazy. I think not even too lazy. I think we were too late to get a bus. We had kind of lost time, I guess, and we were like, I mean, fuck it, like we're just gonna get a taxi, no worries. And then all of a sudden, my friend asked, are you up for, a line of, having some Coke or whatever? I'm like, I mean, we're here anyway. We might as well just have a good time. So yeah, sure. We just started discussing where are we gonna find this, and then, by the time we had really thought of something, the taxi driver had arrived, and we were like, well, I mean, shit, we haven't found anything. I mean, we still have weed. It's whatever. We're just gonna have fun at the hotel with some weed. We get in a taxi. About 5 minutes into the drive, all of a sudden, my friend who's sitting in the front seat, he just looks at the taxi driver and he goes, "Hey, dude, do you know anyone who sells Coke by any chance?" And I remember just face palming,
yeah.
This guy is gonna fucking hand us over to the fucking police or some
He's
shit.
gonna drive us straight to the police
Exactly,
station.
he's gonna drive us straight there. We're fucked. What are you thinking? But the cab driver just kind of smiles and he goes, I mean, yeah, sure, but I'll let the timer running, so you have to pay extra for the taxi drive. I'm like, yeah, sure, I
He's about
guess.
to make some money on you guys.
Exactly, so he just fucking, he drove to some sketchy, I don't know, outskirts of Amsterdam. He left us there for 20 minutes in a car. He probably had it after 5 minutes, but he was probably just looking at his clock I'm gonna make these fuckers pay for it. So yeah, he came back after some time. He came back with some bomb-ass Coke, actually. Holy fuck, it was good. But yeah, I think that was the last time, probably. I'm not even gonna lie, I'm gonna be very honest. I still kind of get that, not really an urge, but I kind of think about it sometimes. Man, it would feel good, I guess, to do it again. But I don't want to say I've definitely come to the point where I can be I might try it once perhaps again, but occasionally, I don't want to do it
Yeah.
if I do it once every year or 2 years or something like that,
It's not like it's a must.
Exactly.
If it doesn't happen, it happens. It doesn't. If it does, it does.
Exactly. So that's kind of how I'm looking at it now. But like I said, it's been 2 or 3 years now, so it's whatever. Like you said, I'm not gonna sit here and say that I do want it or whatever. But yeah, that's been the last time. So how long has it been for you?
Oh, I think I was 18 or 19 at the time, so at least 5-6 years. Yeah, like I said, I was quite young when I realized that this wasn't something for me. Now, of course, this is also because we entered this environment or this drug environment at a very young age. I think it was 15 or maybe 14 even.
Yeah.
When friends of mine started experimenting with it. So in a way, I'm grateful that that I realized at the time that I was too young to start experimenting with it, but I could learn from my peers' mistakes, and I would think I have, because I think many of them didn't have such a good life, to be honest, or still don't. Yeah, because it really messes with your brain, especially when you're still growing or when you're not an adult yet.
For sure. It's definitely something I'm very thankful about. It could have ended up much worse. I don't know. I don't want to mention any names, but do you know any people that are kind of? I mean, I don't want to sound mean or anything, but do you know any people who are kind of fucked up now because of?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, also people went to jail, stuff like this, or they got taken into what do they call, like these
Like a mental ward.
psychiatries?
Yeah, like a mental ward.
Yeah, stuff like this. It's really messed up.
I remember one girl from the school that we went to. Again, not gonna mention any names, of course.
Yeah,
but,
that's fine.
I remember, like, she was a very, very upbeat sort of girl, always happy sort of thing. And she got caught, whatever you want to call it, in a trip. And she also ended up in a psychiatric / mental ward for about, I don't know, was it a month or something? She was in there for quite a long time. And she never really came out to say.
Yeah.
She is, yeah. So it's definitely sad. And I'm definitely thankful that none of those things ever happened to any of us. Definitely could have.
Oh yeah.
You don't really think about it back then. You're just like, just live in the moment, YOLO type of feel. God, I felt bad saying that, but
it's true though.
exactly. So looking back, definitely very thankful for that. Two things kind of on that topic still. One thing that I kind of am curious about now, since you've mentioned the whole tripping thing, since that was your more, holy shit words, that was more your type of thing. You are colorblind, right?
Yeah.
And this might sound incredibly stupid, but I'm just curious right now. Did you ever experience colors while tripping?
No, I don't think so. I especially at the lake, I remember being obsessed about shapes, but not colors.
Okay.
Shapes, yes, but colors, not really. No.
Okay, well that's definitely very interesting. Like there's these stories that you hear every now and then from like people tripping who happen to be colorblind, and they're like, almost crying because they're experiencing colors.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, okay, that's it.
But maybe if you're in a colorful room or something, it's more easily stimulated. Twice, about the two experiences I had was during night at nighttime, so there are fewer colors around.
It's very dimly lit.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. The last thing that I kind of want to touch upon, I guess you haven't really experienced that for yourself, maybe in a certain way, but like it's about calm downs and addiction. So, do you remember, like I don't remember, I think I've done shrooms once, and I don't actually remember having a very nasty calm down effect or anything. Pretty much the next day I felt kind of drained.
Yeah, exhausted.
Very exhausted, like all of my energy had just left me. Because probably like my mind was still going over everything that happened.
Yeah, and also the lack of sleep.
Exactly. So I felt very drained, but like an actual calm down, it's not like ecstasy where you actually just feel fucked the day after. Like that's I don't want to say the worst feeling, but it's pretty fucking bad. So do you remember having like?
No, I didn't have an experience like this myself.
Okay. Well, so my question on that topic was like, why do you think, and this is something that kind of still boggles me, I guess addiction is a bitch, but like, why do you think people take these drugs, ecstasy, whatever type of amphetamines or anything? They have this really nasty calm down, but yet they still continue doing this. Like, what's your thoughts on that, I suppose?
Yeah, I think it mainly comes from lack of other joy in life. It's an easy way of experiencing joy and experiencing happiness, and it's an escape from reality. Life is hard and is suffer. Life is suffer, actually. That's the whole definition of life, is just extending your death. And I think it's just an easy way to forget about all the bad shit in life. I really see it just as an escape, as easy gratification, short-term gratification, and then
it's just to come down as kind of worth it, I suppose.
I don't even think you choose the countdown. It's just part of the process, and it's worries for tomorrow.
I suppose that's a good way of looking at it, thinking about it. I hadn't really considered that part. Like I always just thought, it's when you're addicted, kind of like you said, actually, just kind of chasing that feeling. So I guess I always felt like it's kind of not me personally. I've always literally like that's the weird thing. I guess that's what the main reason why this especially just keeps bothering me is like I've had these feelings, these like really really nasty calm downs where I was literally just feeling like a sack of shit the day afterwards, and yet still like that weekend or the next weekend I would still go out partying and just do it again.
Yeah.
While beforehand, like when I arrived at the party, I was literally having these mixed feelings like, oh god, I'm gonna feel so fucking shit tomorrow. But 10 minutes later, I'm just standing there looking at these pills in my hand like, well, I mean,
just in the moment,
let's go. Yeah. So it's
socially accepted at the place where you are, so yeah, it's not even pressure, it kind of seems like it's part of it, I guess.
That's a really weird thing. Maybe that's something that I could actually, if this episode or whatever does ever get a follow up, maybe that's something, or maybe when the ending rolls, we could add something like that. We could like look up for like a psychological meaning or something. We can include it at the end if we find anything, because that is definitely something that does intrigue me. Why? Because it's definitely not something to look forward to, but yet you live in the moment. So it's a weird thing.
I think it just gets neglected in the moment.
It's a very weird thing, for sure. For sure. So, I guess we're kind of getting in the meat of the questions now. We're gonna have some, interesting topics following up. And I kind of want to go back to the whole, partying school aspect. So, I've already touched upon, the amount of people, or we've both already touched upon the amount of people at our school taking drugs. As you said, probably like 80%. Maybe it's because of, what we perceived, but I wouldn't be too surprised, really. It probably wouldn't be too far off.
Yeah.
It really is crazy, and I guess as a whole, like not even looking at our school, but also kind of like looking outside of our school, who you went to Stayska, -1, whatever. Dude is a huge festival. There's thousands of people there, and I probably want to say like 80 doesn't even come close. Like it's probably 90-95% of people who go to Dude who are completely off their rockers. So it really is crazy when you think about it, the amount of people who do it. But as I said, I kind of want to hone in on our school situation.
Okay.
Do you think peer pressure played a big part? Or did it for you?
That's an interesting question. I think it does for a lot of people. But personally for me, I'm not sure if it was peer pressure, and I think it might have to do with the open-mindedness of the school we went to. Like it was okay to be different or to take a different stand and to discuss. So it also left the room for you to actively choose not to do it. But I think it was more like maybe like I got inspired to at least try it and then see what my opinion on drugs would be. So this open-mindedness kind of went two ways. It gives you the option to actively choose not to enter this world or to start using or to try to experiment with it, but it also opens the door to do so. So it's not like you immediately have this fixed statement ready, negative statement about it ready, but it's just both doors are open. It's your choice to choose which one you enter, and it's not like once you enter one of those doors, the door shuts behind you. You were free to exit that door and enter the other door.
It was very much like accepted both ways as well, because I definitely know some people at the school. Like we said, the majority there were people who enjoy taking drugs every now and then, but I did know some people at the school who were very much opposed to it. Who took a very active stance against taking drugs, and they didn't smoke, didn't take anything else, didn't drink, and that was accepted. definitely there was this open-minded aspect to it, that's for sure. And like you said, I don't really think people were peer pressuring each other. It was just you were kind of encouraged to do your own thing. Like people were all like, do it, don't do it, whatever. It's fine with us. And it definitely leads to, as you said, it opens doors.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's a very good statement for sure. 100% agree with that. So I kind of want to delve deeper into, like those lunch breaks that we had where everyone was smoking and passing around 18 joints at the same time. I mean, you could say definitely, like we said, there is this open-minded aspect, but to a certain extent, I kind of want to say there was a drug culture at our school.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And it also was glorified to a certain extent.
Mm-hmm.
Not as in, that you were encouraged to do so, but if you were doing it, hey, that's pretty cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're one of the boys.
Exactly, pretty much. So maybe some people felt enticed in that way, like, hey, we want to be part of it. But again, I don't really think like the people who were part of, the boys or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
They just were there because they already did it or whatever. Mm-hmm. Like it's not like they were pressured. Or, yeah. So. What do you think? And this is a very tough question, so I don't blame you if this is too hard or whatever. But like, what do you think is the reasoning behind that drug culture? Like, what feeds that culture?
That's a good question. It's actually a question I've asked myself over the years, and I think the answer would be just. To keep that we got stimulated. I think it's a misinterpretation from ourselves, maybe.
I think did your camera or not camera? Did your microphone shut off? Okay, never mind.
No, I think it's a misinterpretation mainly from ourselves, that we kind of misinterpreted the idea of art school and the idea of having everything up for debate, or the idea to take a different standpoint. The drugs kind of easily fit into this model, and it's just about how you want to see this reality. So I think you naturally want to explore this, but I think the exploration itself got glorified maybe a little bit too much. Now, am I sad with the way things went or with the way I experimented with it? No, I wouldn't say so, because I grew a lot stronger because of those experiences. Could have gained the same knowledge or the same skill sets and maybe also social skills, especially by not taking part in this. Yes. Would it have happened? We don't know, because we don't live in this world. So to come back to answering your question, I would say it's a misinterpretation of ourselves, of the open-mindedness of the school.
Wanting to be too open-minded.
Maybe, yes.
Yeah. I can agree to that. Definitely can see that.
How do you see it?
It's one of those things that I've wondered myself for a very very long time, for sure. To me personally, and this is the kind of weird thing that stands out to me, is just the extremity of the whole situation.
Yeah.
Because like you could look at your own year for the people watching or whatever. Like you might know people who took drugs. Maybe this is a warped perception. I don't know. It's all very weird. But like when I really really think back about those times in the art school, literally everyone I knew was to a certain extent addicted to drugs.
Yeah.
And it's kind of wild. Like we're literally thinking about 15, 16-year-olds.
Very young. Yeah. Too young.
Too young. Definitely too young. Who are glorifying drugs. Like to the point where, and this kind of I don't want to say
Just openly accept it was very, very strange.
it's very strange. Like everyone was so open to it. Everyone was like, you know, there's gonna be this party next week. I can't wait to go there and just fucking take some ecstasy or whatever. It's gonna be a great time, you know.
Even on school trips and stuff like
Even on
this.
school trips, I remember like this is one of my personal anecdotes. But again, if anyone, you know, any school teachers are watching this, it's too late now. Can't go back. Sorry, did what I did. But I remember there was this like personal or public speaker that was coming to school, and he was talking about AIDS.
I remember this speech as well.
Do you remember? Yeah. It was like everyone was invited to that, and I mean, more power to him, I suppose. Like it's a very serious topic. I respect what he does, but back then, you know, we were kind of rebellious. I guess that's the way to say it. And I literally remember like 5 minutes before the speech went off, we had a break first, and then after the break was the speech. And during the break, like 10-minute break, me and a friend, a girlfriend, not a girlfriend, but you know,
Yeah.
a girlfriend snuck up to like the second level, the toilets on the second level, just to have a couple of, you know, lines of coke before the speech, to enhance the speech. I guess that was kind of our reasoning. Like, you know, it's gonna be great. Like, we're gonna connect to him a lot more like that. Yeah, sure. Let's do it. So things like that, you know, it's kind of to a certain extreme where I'm really like, oh, that shit is crazy. Like,
Yeah, that's not okay, yeah.
and I really, honestly, I don't really have an explanation for it. I think, kind of like you mentioned, like everyone was trying to be very open-minded. I don't want to say peer pressure, but like there was this sort of encouragement. Like if you wanted to try it, you know, people weren't gonna say like you have to try this, but like if you wanted to try it, people were like, fucking do it. Like everyone was very supportive. It made those kind of nice. It made those moments, like when you think about, you know, the school breaks where everyone was smoking during the lunch break, and everyone, like, it was sunny outside Budlow Park, everyone was sitting there kind of sharing joints, laughing. Those were great times, and I guess that's kind of something that you looked forward to in a way. Like it was positively supported and encouraged. So I think, yeah, it was a little bit overhyped perhaps, but I guess everyone was kind of feeding off of each other's energy,
Probably.
so to speak. So everyone was like trying to, you know, it was weird. It really was. But I think, yeah, like I said, everyone was just feeding off of each other, which kind of made that happen. And this kind of leads me to the next point, which is also something that I've been wondering about, is the authoritarian figures. I don't know if the thing was blocking it.
Yeah, I didn't really get you.
Yeah, sorry. So the authoritarian figures, as in, you know, you had the school staff, the principal, teachers, you had obviously parents, some parents, I guess, some of the friends that we had back then, their parents knew.
Yeah.
Some of their parents
Took part.
in it, were also smoking or taking drugs, so they kind of, you know, they were, well, I don't want to say oblivious, but they were like, you know, they were open to it, I suppose. Don't you think anyone, and this is more or less, like, I'm not really talking about parents, maybe the parents who didn't know that their kids were taking drugs, but like, especially school staff, teachers, the principal, do you really think they were not aware of what was going on?
Yeah, this is a hard question. I think some of them knew. I don't think it was their responsibility. Now I need to be careful with my words, because as a teacher you do have a responsibility. Wait, let me just refresh the cameras. So as a teacher you do carry a certain responsibility over your students. But was it their responsibility to tell us whether or not to take drugs? Actually, let me maybe start with a teacher who addressed it to us. I had a teacher at one point, a video teacher. We entered the video class, And at the start of the lesson, she would say, just a random lesson, not like every time, but just this one. It happened once where she said, "Look, I know some of you guys are experimenting with drugs. I'm not gonna name names. I'm not here to blame, to shame or to blame people. But just be careful. You're at a very important point in your lives, where it's very natural to push boundaries and to set limits for the rest of your life and to explore. Exploration is a natural thing at this phase in your life, and we encourage it here. Just be careful with which things you want to experiment and which ones you want to step away from. Again, I'm not saying what you should or shouldn't do, just be aware that decisions you make at this age might impact your later life." And that was like, everybody was silent, because I think everyone sitting at that table knew she was talking about every single one of us. Just she addressed the elephant in the room, and she was being the responsible adult. And I think she handled it very, very good there. She just addressed it, because the whole point she made, that exploration and experimentation is a natural part at that stage of your life, is true, and whether or not she's going to tell you, or any person, maybe apart from your parents, is going to talk to you about it, or tell you shouldn't do it, it's not going to affect you. Like, if someone can stop you at that age, it's your parents. Otherwise you can maybe influence someone, but you have to be careful with how you influence them. So I don't think teachers, even if they would have addressed it, I think they knew it, but even if they would have addressed it actively, I don't think it would have changed the outcome. I actually think it would have been opposite. Then that's when you kind of do it to show off, or when you open the door to like this I got a bigger dick than you kind of mentality, which it was not at the time. So I think they were aware of it. I think they chose, maybe out of their own experiences, or they chose collectively to maybe like subconsciously address it, and like to see, like, because as long as you were doing your task and you had good grades, they kind of would let you do your thing, which I think is a good thing at that age. But I mean, if you really would have been, I don't know, injecting heroin on the toilet, it's not like nothing's gonna come out of there. It's like they never really caught us either, because when they did catch us, you got punished, which is a good thing. So it's not like they were actively supporting it, it's just they were aware of it. Could they have done more? Maybe. Would it really have made a difference? Probably not.
Okay. No, I think that's a really, really good answer, and I'd probably say the same, to be fair. My question, but I guess you've already answered it at the end there, my question would have been, would you blame, well, I guess blame is a very strong word, but would you blame the teachers for not, trying to do more, or do you really think they did what, like...
No, I think as the role of a teacher, they fulfilled their responsibilities quite good. Because most teachers, you see them between 2 to 4, maybe maximum 5 hours a week, so it's not like you have this strong connection with one teacher. It's quite a weird bond you create with these teachers. You only see them a couple of hours a week. It's not like a mentor that guides you every single day. It's more like, you see them once, twice, maybe maximum 3 times a week for 1 or 2 hours. So I don't know. I think school is not the right place to solve this problem. Maybe they could be a stepping stone when they see things are getting out of control to more specific help. But I think as a teacher, they did a pretty good job, and I do know that some of my friends at the time did get in touch with some teachers, or someone who would guide them for some further help. So I think they did what they were allowed to. They acted where they were allowed to act. Of course, they cannot act on speculation. I think we were just some sneaky bastards as well.
To a certain extent.
Yeah.
I remember like the rainy days, the little, what's it called? Like the little roof that, what's it called? New Ghent? No, not New Ghent. The acting federation that was like, you know Kiekenpark, right?
Yeah.
On the way to Kiekenpark there was like a little...
Yeah.
NTG?
Yes.
Yeah, NTG. There was like this little, I guess, balcony sort of thing that we would hide under when it was like raining, and there was literally like 6-7 people sitting there in public, just kind of rolling joints, passing it around.
Yeah.
So to a certain extent, yeah, we were definitely sneaky. Well,
I think we just knew where to be sneaky.
Exactly, but then there's also...
Yeah, we were smart motherfuckers. When you're 15, okay, when you look back at your 15-year-old self, you think, oh, you're a kid, and yes, you are, but you're a smart kid. You have some skills that also the level of teaching was quite high at the school, so intelligently wise, like just IQ wise, I'd say we were maybe a bit higher than the no, I don't like putting people in groups, but
I know what you mean. Yeah.
I can I can talk about myself and maybe sound a little bit less cocky, but I think like strategy wise and planning wise, we had skills that some adults maybe never develop. At that age, some things might start to show already. It's not like you're this child. You're just a young adult, stressing young.
We were definitely very creative, but like I do say, I 100% agree. Like there's been times where we definitely skilled some things, like where we got away with things that we, in hindsight, really shouldn't have gotten away with.
Yeah, maybe that's why it spiraled so far as well. Because if you would have hit the lamp earlier, you'd probably have stopped at that point. It just never really happened.
Yeah, for sure. But then there's also like there's been times where, and this is I'm not talking about drugs about this one particular time, but like speaker coffee again. There's been times where during lunch break, like people either weren't really feeling like smoking, or it might have been like bad weather or some shit, so people didn't really feel like sitting out in Park, so we just went to Ghent, go to this pub called Speker, and we got absolutely shit-faced on shots. Like we were sitting there for 30 minutes waiting for the school break to go, for classes to start again, and we would literally just be drinking, I think it's called eggnog, I'm not sure, Genever, whatever you want to call it, which basically taking like small shots, and people would go back to class absolutely wasted. I remember this friend of mine who was like, we had biology class, and you know how you had these high stools, like you had the bars or whatever, like the tables,
like these chemistry tables,
and then you'd have like these high stools that we would sit on, and I remember my friend like stumbling to his seat and just trying to sit down but completely missing the chair, and he just fucking fell, started laughing his ass off. I started laughing his ass off. My friend got sent outside, like he had to leave the classroom,
which makes sense.
Well, I mean, it really did, but I don't think the teacher actually suspected anything, or I really have no idea how he got away with that. Me as well, because I think I sat there for like 20 minutes in a classroom, like while the class was going on. I literally sat there for like 20 minutes just losing it, like constantly laughing. So it's a miracle we got away with some of the things like that. I don't know if you have like any stories like that by any chance.
Oh yeah, I once drank half a bottle of absinthe on a school trip, and we got this evening clock. I think it was 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock. We had to be back. That's quite strange thinking back, at having an age of like 16, maybe 15 or 16, that they would allow you to go outside. But then again, I don't know. Either way, we were allowed to go out of the hostel we were staying in, and we just had to be back at a certain time, which seemed reasonable to the teachers. They wanted us to have a nice time, but we smuggled some alcohol. We got a bottle of absinthe. I took it together with a friend, so we could share it. For those of you who've never drank absinthe, half a bottle of absinthe is too much for one evening.
Yeah.
And I never tried it before at the time, so he was like, yeah, you should try it. I was like, oh yeah, why not? So I poured it into my plastic shitty water bottle, went out for the night, started sipping. Well, I put my lips on the bottle, and I just remember this burning feeling of where the alcohol had just touched my lips, and I just barely nipped it. I was like, what's this? And they said, oh yeah, don't worry, next time you'll taste less, and you'll just taste less every time you take a sip. Okay, no problem. So I take a couple more sips, and yeah, it's true, I very fastly don't remember much of the evening anymore. It's actually the only time I blacked out from alcohol, and the last thing I remember that night was laying on the middle of a street, like literally a road, in the middle of a road, looking up to the sky, and I was like, oh, the sky looks so beautiful, or something like this. I looked to my left and I saw two headlights coming my way, quite distant, and I was like, oh yeah, I got some time, I'm gonna enjoy the view a little bit more. Much more I don't remember of that night. Anyways, I wake up the next morning completely shit-faced in these bunk beds. I was sleeping on top of these bunk beds. I think we were sleeping 4 people in a room, something like this in the hostel. Yeah, 4. And I was on top of the bunk bed, and I woke up and I had this pain in my neck. I was like, what? Headache, pain in my neck. And the first thing I noticed was my left cheek was like in this big puddle of drool that had been collecting overnight. I was like, what the hell happened? And I kind of felt under my blanket, and I felt, okay, I'm not wearing my clothes. That's a good thing, I guess.
Depends how you look at it.
Yeah, and it was, at the time there were not really smartphones, or they already existed, but I didn't have one, so I had my iPod Touch, a phone, a wallet, and some earphones on me, and they were like shattered all over the bed. Like my coins were everywhere, my earphones were everywhere, like it was all over the bed. And I noticed that one of the guys in the room stole my pillow the night before, so that's why my neck was hurting.
Shitty bastard.
yeah. But I was like, oh my god, how did I get here? And I even made it up the ladder, and I didn't puke. But so I asked the guys to throw me my clothes, assuming they were somewhere in the room. I didn't remember going to bed, and they threw me my clothes, but not my trousers. So yeah, guys, just give me my trousers, because we need to go on the bus to drive to the museum or something we were gonna visit that day. And they're like, no, honestly, your pants are not here. And so I started to get pissed off. So I threw my blanket off me, and I saw my trousers were like wrapped around my ankles. So I didn't manage to get further than my ankles the night before. So they just kind of laid around my feet for the night. And then I went for breakfast. And the teachers were like, yeah, Dario, after breakfast you need to come talk to us. I was like, oh, what the fuck, I need to go talk to the teachers. Normally I've always been like the nice guy, or like I managed to play it off as being the nice guy that they never suspected. But then I had to go to the teachers, so I was like, oh, I was in trouble.
You're in trouble now.
Yeah. And they're like, yeah, Dario, did you take any drugs yesterday? I was like, what? No, I drank, you know, like I came clean right away. I was like, no, I drank alcohol. Why? And they said, yeah, because yesterday when you, first of all, you were, I don't remember, 1 or 2 hours late, so they were like panicking already. Of course, I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
And then I was completely shit-faced, and the teachers brought escorted me to the room. They caught me on the hallway giggling, trying to find my way to the room. So yeah, I ended up not being allowed to leave the hostel the next night. But luckily the next evening the other guy threw a party under a bridge somewhere, and another guy got KO and smashed his head into one of these street poles. So they remembered his story more than mine. So I was safe for the rest of the year.
Was that the trip to Italy? Or
No. That's another trip,
okay.
which I also didn't go there. I was actually on the film fest myself. But yeah,
all right.
they did destroy a beach in Venice, and the other guys.
Oh, fucking hell. All right. Well, I guess the last thing that I kind of wanted to talk about, well, not really talk about, but just kind of touch upon, is just how much times have changed. Like, I think, I obviously, like, it's been a while since we graduated from that school.
Yeah, man.
But
7 years for me.
7 whole damn years. Yeah, it's been.
We're getting old, man. 7 years.
It's been a very long time for sure. But yeah, I guess. I'm kind of curious actually what the situation is like right now in that school.
I've got no idea, to be honest.
I wonder if there's still like the same drug culture going on. I'd be very surprised, honestly.
I hope not, to be honest. For I think it's not that healthy. I think in our school you have more opportunities to focus on than just drugs. It's probably still part of it, but I'd hope it's at least
I think it's
turned
also,
down a notch.
I think it's also just way less, possible in a way.
Yeah.
Because trying to get anywhere nowadays with drugs, I wouldn't risk it personally.
But to be honest, I think social media plays a big role of it as well. Everything gets put on Instagram stories or Snapchat or TikTok, whatever the youngsters are using nowadays. No, I think that plays a big role of it. There's more of this social control. Of course, you can probably still make like private groups or choose which friends you show your stories to. But it's just the fact that everything gets more easily documented and shared with people you might not know does keep you more aware. Now, again, this comes with the disadvantage that you have less opportunities to experiment, but overall I think this is one of the upsides of social media, that it kind of represses really things that are actually bad for you. There's many downsides as well as with every technology, but I think that's one of the good things. But I am glad it didn't exist back when. Well, it already existed, but the platforms weren't as mature, and the technology wasn't as widely spread, being like cameras and phones and stuff like this.
That's actually
there's no way I would be able to find a job now.
That's a really, really good point actually, like thinking back about it, because like obviously things like this, these are things that I've never discussed with my parents, and I don't think I'll ever, in all honesty, I don't think I'll ever complain about that to my parents. Which is, it's a shame to a certain extent. Like, don't, if anyone's watching this, obviously don't lie to your parents. Don't try to hide things from them. But, there's.
It's also strange to bring it up after the fact.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm not sure how my mom would react if I think about it. Like, if I'd be like, hey mom,
you shatter their image.
There's this thing I want to talk about, like 10 years ago. Hey, I experimented with drugs. I don't think that would go very well. It would definitely, like the trust, the bond that we've built, that would definitely be broken.
Or damaged.
Or damaged, severely damaged for sure. So definitely, there's these things that I don't want them to know.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely think like if, 6 or the things that happened like, 10 years ago, if we were put in that situation right now, I definitely think, I probably would have done less or tried less, because exactly I'd be scared of like things ending up on Facebook.
Oh yeah.
And like my parents finding out about it through, a shared image or something. So that's a very good point actually. Social media, definitely. I mean, it's a savior, it's a curse and a savior.
Nice work, Zuckerberg.
It's a blessing and a curse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you want to have kids yourself?
Kids?
Yeah.
No. No, I say that, but I actually do. I
Yeah?
actually do. Yeah.
I never asked you this question.
Yeah, no. I think if you'd asked me this, years ago, I definitely would have said no. But definitely, I mean, times have changed. I think it'd be cool. Well, that sounds.
No.
No, yeah, it'd be cool. Seeing, a younger version of yourself grow up, being able to play a part in their life, in their future, learning them things, trying to get them on the right path. Yeah.
What would make you a proud parent?
Ooh. That's a really good question.
It's a good question, right?
Yeah, that's a really good one. I would say seeing them when they're seeing them being able to make their own decisions based on the things that you've taught them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't want to be, if I were to be a parent, I don't think I would be the type of parent. I would, first of all, I would want my kid to be honest with me. I know I sound hypocritical with, me not being honest to my own parents, but, I'm also not raised differently, but I've experienced different things that my parents have.
Of course.
So my parents never experienced the type of things that we have. So I think if my kid would want to experience, would be in that same position, I think, I would let them to a certain extent. I wouldn't let it get as far as it got with us, because I think, we've learned from those things. So I'd make sure it doesn't get that far, but if they want to experience or experiment, they'd be free to, I suppose. But really just, sharing your knowledge, your ways of living with your kid, and seeing them apply those lessons with the decisions that they make, and knowing that they're making the right decisions, that would make me very proud. What about you?
I would like to see a kid that is I think smart and educated in not just theory but also life-wise, like knowing how to communicate with people, knowing how to leave impressions, knowing how to even put people together to create something bigger than something you can create yourself. Those are values. Also, doing this in a way that other people benefit from it as well as yourself, like planting seeds with people that you can reap benefits from mutually. So this can be relationships wise, you build with people, and when I say relationship, this can be an intimate relationship, but also a friendly relationship or a business relationship. Just learning how to build different relationships, and yeah, I think that's what I would like to. If there's one thing I could choose that I would want to give, these what are they called, DNA or RNA mutated babies, that one of the things you can install before birth, it would be like learning how to build meaningful relationships and how to learn from sharing experiences. I think that's if I can do that, I'd be.
You're definitely a person who's all about, connecting with people. Looking back at your other jobs that you've done and stuff, you're all about connecting with others. So I find that very admirable.
But the thing is, I don't think I am actually. I think I think I've learned how to do it, but I don't think it's in my nature. I just find it a very useful skill. And I've seen what it can do and how you can change people, but not change, how you can form people. That I really enjoy, like working with people and seeing them grow and seeing them push their own boundaries and seeing them unfold talents they didn't know they already had. It's just you need to look for them, and then seeing how these new talents can implement both of you or the group of you. I find that very very interesting, and it's a mixture of psychology or like just reading books. Just it's a mixture of many things. It's not like one skill. It's a very complex skill set that you can apply, like I said, in private relationships, business relationships. Life is hard, man, for everybody. So just surrounding yourself with good people, like I said, in different parts of your life, professionally, privately, romantically. This is so important.
It really is. For sure.
To just find purpose, and to find happiness in life, and to relieve suffer from the equation.
At what point would you say that you realized this, or learned how to form these relations, or learned how important these actually were? Like, at what point?
Well, I don't think I've mastered it. I think I'm still working on it, and I think it's something you continuously should be working on. I don't think there's an end point, because people change and people are unique as well. So it's not like you have one strategy that fits all.
But at what point did you realize how important these relationships are? Or should I say, really realize it?
Yeah. That's a hard question. I wouldn't say that long ago, as I grew up and still am quite introverted. I started exploring social skills and social structures quite late, probably after school, like after graduating, which is quite strange actually. Well, it's like one of these things, they exist, but if you never experiment with them, it's hard to see what is possible.
Nah.
So I would say not before my probably 19th.
Okay.
19, maybe 20 even.
And I'm guessing your job as an entertainer, did it help with that, or probably to a certain extent?
Yeah, for sure. I'm just gonna reset the cameras real quick. Yeah, no, for sure. Working abroad did help me. Well, it forced me to see this and to build new collections every time. It was quite interesting for me to have this reset button every 6 months, because I'd be working 6 months in one destination with a couple of people. Could vary from 3 to, let's say, 13 or 15 people, and these would be the people you would surround yourself with professionally and privately for the next 6 months. So every 6 months I had a new opportunity to I don't know, it's like a reset button. You just respawn on a new location, like you're playing a game. You get to try different things, make new first impressions. But that forced me into finding a way to make it work for me, and also you learn what to tell and what to keep for yourself.
Yeah, I can see that for sure. Well, we're just gonna have to glance over some of the next questions, because there's the lockdown going on, and we have to be home by 12. So we're just gonna skim through some of these. It's mainly just like the last part that I really want to hone in on for a little bit. I just kind of want to glance over law enforcement. So in Belgium, of course, hard drugs are illegal. I think you're allowed to have 2.5 or 3 grams of weed.
I don't even know if it's allowed, to be honest.
It's a very grey area, so I don't really want to say anything that I'm not sure of.
Yeah. Do your own research.
Do your own research. Now, I think you're allowed to possess, but you're not allowed to
consume?
No. You're allowed to possess and consume in your own, like, personal space. I think private area, private space, whatever. but you're not allowed to
Take it to
basically
your place.
take it anywhere.
Yeah.
So there's a question like, how are we supposed to get it in the first place?
Yeah.
It's a very grey area, so I don't really want to touch too much upon that, because there's definitely things that I don't know. But have you, and again, we're kind of just going through this a little bit faster, but have you ever had any run-ins with the law?
I've had a few close calls, but never. I never got caught. Knock on wood.
Never got caught?
No.
Well, that's incredible. I've yeah.
Yeah, no, it's honestly like it's been close up to a couple of centimeters and stuff like this.
Can you mention one of those?
Yeah, well, once I went to get quite a portion. It wasn't just for myself; it was for a couple of friends. We all bought together quite a large quantity. And I went with a friend in a car. Was this small van? So there were 2 seats. My friend was driving, as I didn't have a driving license yet. I was in the passenger seat, and then the guy who knew the dealer was in the trunk. There was no seat. Yeah, it's really stupid. Like don't do this kind of stuff. But we thought we'd risk it. So we went to get our thing. We went to get the weed. Drove back, and there was a routine control, like just a regular control. So the police officer comes with this torch into the car and is like, "Oh, where do you guys come from?" So we do a little story. Of course, my heart's pounding. As we didn't really hide it. It was just like in the overhead compartment of the van, just laying there. And the police was like looking inside, and I think her head was like, this much. What's this? 30 centimeters from the bag of weed, which smelled quite a lot. But she ended up not searching the car. She did find the guy in the trunk, so we had to stay longer there. Got a fine for it. The guy had to walk it, so we picked him up a couple of 100 meters further. But yeah, it's just really, stupid stuff like this, and you think you'd learn your lesson at that point, but actually I did. I think after one or two of these instances, I just let other people go and take. Yeah, it sounds messed up, but
exactly.
Yeah, maybe it's selfish, but it worked out because I never got caught.
I mean, if people wanted to do it, yeah, sure. No, I definitely agree with that. It's funny because I've had my own experiences, and one in particular that really stands out to me is that when we were on a bus going to I think Overport again, Steeske. And I had not a whole lot. I think I had like 2.5 grams on me. 2 friends who were with us, they also had like 2.5 each, something like that. And I remember the bus stopping in the middle of the road, and everyone was like, well, what the fuck is going on, and all of a sudden the front doors open, the middle compartment opens, the back row opens, and just a bunch of cops, and they fucking had dogs, dude. Like, I'm not even kidding.
Oh shit.
I'm not sure, they probably weren't like actual dope hounds or drug hounds or whatever.
Yeah, just to intimidate,
Just to intimidate. I think it's something, like a mental scare tactic. But, they had 2 dogs with them, and we were sat near the front.
Can I take one of them?
Sure, go for it. Be my guest. I mean, I'm at your place, but be my guest. So yeah, now of course we were sitting close to the front, and one of the dogs immediately jumped at me. That scared the shit out of me. Yeah, so that gave me a good shake up at the time.
Of course.
I was very shaken, very scared. The cops were also saying that they would send a what's it called? Like a fine or a letter to
your parents,
to my place.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I was like, "Fuck, I'm gonna have to explain this one."
You weren't even worried about the fine. It's just
exactly. So I was just like, "Fuck, how are my parents gonna react to this?" So that definitely shook me up. That was like the most confronting moment or run-in with the law that I had. A couple of other like small run-ins sitting in the park, and then like a what do you call it? Like a cop that's dressed up as a civilian.
Yeah. Incognito.
Incognito. It was James Bond as motherfuckers. Like come run up to us. So yeah, a couple of run-ins like that. But you know, it's crazy or it's funny to me how that definitely is something that had a lasting effect on me. Cause
really?
Yeah, it really did. Cause,
Which way?
In a way that every time I would go and get more weed, I would be so incredibly paranoid, but like an unhealthy amount of paranoia. Where I would literally go to like extreme extents to try and hide it, because I would keep telling myself like make up all of these scenarios where if this or that happens.
Yeah.
It really had a very straining effect on me, but yet you still keep doing it, so that's.
But you kind of feel like you're in a movie. You kind of enjoy the fear.
To a
well, I did at least.
Yeah. I was very scared.
Okay.
Because for me as well, it got to a point like I got caught a couple of times, and it got to a point like if I was to be caught again, the consequences would be much worse.
Yeah.
So if it was my first time, maybe I'd be like whatever, but it definitely hadn't been the first time. So I was really scared. Like I don't want, I don't personally see much harm in this, but I don't want to have this lead to. I don't want to say like going to jail, but maybe like
makes sense.
Yeah, things could get or could get worse.
It actually reminds me of here in Belgium we have this thing. It's called the 100 days. The last 100 days you will be going to high school before you graduate, assuming you will graduate, of course. And then you throw a big party, like you party all night, and you celebrate that there's 100 days left of school. So we did celebrate, and we ended up in the same park behind the school in the middle of the night, listening to this rave music. Yeah, don't do this in the middle of the night. I mean, there's people living around there, but we thought it was cool, and we didn't see any harm in it. So we were partying, and then one of the people living around the park just came out of their house half naked, I think in his underwear, screaming like, oh, what are you guys doing? I think it was 4 o'clock at night or something like this, so it makes sense. And he was shouting at us, the teenagers. I think we were 15, maybe 20 people, having a party. Okay, not like dancing, but just relaxing in the park, listening to rave music. So I'm not even gonna try and justify just reckless behavior. And he ended up calling the cops. Now the problem was I had quite a lot of weed on me. I think like 20 grams or something. I think it was I had some for some other friends who were joining us later or something like this. And the cops showed up because he didn't tell us he called the cops. He just called the cops and then started to come and tell us off. So they entered the scene. I was like, oh, this is pretty bad, because if they're gonna check our bags now or ask for IDs, I need to open my bag, and they will probably see it, or the chances are high that they will see it. So I was like talking to the cops, explaining them, yeah, it's the last 100 days we go to school, but I know it's quite late already, so I'm sorry that you guys are here. I approached the police officers rather than coming to me. I just wanted someone to inform them of what was going on. Yeah, exactly. Take our side of the story as well. So I told them, look, I'm sorry, and I know this is wrong. Actually, I'm also not the kind of guy who enjoys these parties, so I'm probably gonna go home myself now. You guys are right to come here, and honestly, I'm sorry. I shook both of the police officers their hand. I was like, honestly, have a good night and good luck with the rest of your day. They're like, yeah, thank you very much.
Well,
You're a nice kid. Yeah, they just let me go because I just, I'm just speaking naturally to them, informing them about the situation. They thought I was the I don't know, the neutral or
the
the
most sober person.
Yeah, yeah. So I got lucky again there.
Jesus Christ. Just very, very quickly, hypothetically speaking, if you would have gotten caught with like a big amount, say like, I don't know, 20 grams or something.
Yeah.
If you, hypothetically speaking, would have gotten caught, do you think that you would have quit earlier, or do you think you still would have kept going?
I think I wouldn't have had the choice. I think you kind of get forced then.
Yeah.
Well, of course, if you're really a big rebellion, it's always possible. But I don't think I would have had the balls to stand up to my parents that much. Oh, sorry, or law enforcement that much myself.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. One thing I briefly want to touch upon as well is you kind of mentioned it already at the start of. It's been, I don't know, over 2 hours or something, but I think you've mentioned it at the start that you kind of quit smoking and all of that. I guess in shrooms as well, it's been like, what, 5, 6, however many years. So you've kind of strayed away from that. Was it hard to quit?
In the beginning, yes. I always quit at a point. Like I'm saying I quit, but I'm smoking.
This is a special occasion.
But I do still smoke on some occasions right now. But I decided not to go out and buy a supply for myself anymore. Not because I want to be greedy and smoke off of other people, but because I found myself not to be the person who has the character to not smoke when I have it laying around here. So if you don't have it, there's just no option for it, and I don't actively look for it. It's not like, oh my god, I'm craving it, I need to smoke right now. It's just when the thought pops up, like it would be nice to have a smoke now, then it's not here, and that's the end of the equation. The beginning was I was mainly having difficulties with sleeping, but you get used to it. It takes 1-2 weeks, and then you're just used to sleeping again.
Okay. Fair enough. Well, I mean, hats off to you. I know it's hard for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Well, I think it's the mindset. You need to choose to choose for yourself. Like, okay, I'm doing this for my own interest, and I'm gonna.
Did you go like cold turkey one day into the other, or did you like do like a build up?
No, I went cold turkey. But the last years I didn't smoke as much as in school. So we're not talking about 2.5 grams. A day anymore. I did smoke on a daily basis, mostly once, like just before I went to sleep, but then one easily turns into 2 if you're watching a movie, and then I catch myself, and I caught myself, and I was like, okay, no, look, you've been saying to yourself you got this under control for what was it now, 6-7 years. You don't. So just stay true to yourself. There's also no shame in saying that. You can't control that urge if you are the person who cannot control it.
There's also
just own your mistakes and see how you can not make them, or make yourself put yourself in a situation, compromise with yourself, see what you want to do. If this is something you don't mind, or I mean if you get joy from smoking every day, go for it. I don't think it's healthy, or I don't think it's sustainable, but if it brings you joy and that's really what you like doing, go for it. But for me, it wasn't the case.
One thing I've learned is that, and it kind of ties in with what you were saying, is that there's no shame in admitting that you have an addiction.
Oh, no.
If you want to come to terms with yourself, that is basically the first step. Admit that you're addicted, and then once you admit it, once you can actually see that you're addicted, decide what you want to do with it. If you want to act upon it or not. But don't be ashamed of admitting that you have an addiction.
Or if one of the rules I apply to myself is I do this with more than just drugs, like even habits. If you are unsure whether or not a habit or something you're doing is unhealthy for you, quit it for 30 days, and if you have problems quitting it for 30 days, then it's probably a bad thing and you shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah.
If you can quit it easily for 30 days and you want to pick it up again, yeah, no problem, and then it's probably not that harmful. I'm not saying it's a good habit, but it's at least not like really destructive.
That's very good advice. It's actually very, very good advice. Alright, so we're going to dive into the last part of the podcast, the interview, whatever you want to call it. And this is probably my favorite part because I think this one is very interesting. And it's going to be all about reflection, self-reflection.
Okay.
So it's going to be a little bit of, because I've got a lot of things written down, but we're going to have to keep it short, of course. It's going to be a little bit of a quick fire round. So looking back on all of those crazy times and experiences that we've had, do you ever regret doing it?
No, I wouldn't say regret. It's why? Because I learned lessons from it, and I think I've become a better person from these bad experiences. Don't feel sorry for yourself, but learn from your mistakes and just don't make them again.
Okay.
Then it's fine to make a mistake if you just learn from it.
That's a wonderful way to look at it. Second question: would you go back and experience it all over again?
Yeah, this is a tough question, because I don't know if you read the book 13 Rules of Life from Jordan Peterson, and in there he has this one saying in which he says you should give advice to yourself or treat yourself as you would treat your dog. And I really like this saying, because most people will take more care of their dog than they will take care of themselves, because you look at yourself as this incomplete person full of mistakes, and you focus on but you more easily focus on the bad sides of yourself, and that's why you more easily wouldn't give the best, or how do you put this? You more easily, how did he put it? Fuck. You understand why you wouldn't deserve the best for yourself. Yeah. Whereas for a dog, you would probably care more. Like if he's sick, you bring him to the vet. Whereas for yourself, you would wait maybe before going to the doctor. So if it was my dog, would I put my dog in a situation like that? Probably not. But for myself, I don't really mind. I mean, I've come out it quite good, I'd say, or I'm happy with the way things are right now. But maybe there's a different path to where I am right now. That would be more healthy.
Okay. That's incredibly respectable. I think the quote from Jordan Peterson actually is...
Yeah, it's a cool one, right? I love it.
Great. I actually didn't think about that at all, but that's a wonderful way to look at it. So I guess you've kind of already mentioned it, but would you go back and change things? That's kind of,
it's quite similar again. Yeah. Like I don't feel bad for the way things happened. I just think it's maybe not the best way of reaching the point I want to go to in life without feeling bad from it. It's just you learn from it.
All right. Maybe one of the tougher questions, but how did those experiences shape you as a person?
I think there's a part. That's really hard to answer, as you don't know the person you would have been without going through those experiences. Sure. But I would say distrust is one of the things that got fed by by this. I don't know. There's always this distrust because you don't really know who you're dealing with, or you don't really know who you're giving money. Maybe distrust. But also open-mindedness and like not judging a book by its cover, just giving everyone a chance. This is also it kind of goes hand in hand. Yeah.
Okay, that's a great reply. It also, you've immediately answered my next question, which was, are there any valuable lessons that you've learned from it? But I guess you just covered that.
Yeah.
Now, again, a hypothetical question, of course, but if you could go back 10 years in time and meet your younger self, what would you tell your younger self?
Honestly, if I could tell myself something is I would say at this point 24-year-olds, they're saying to the 14-year-olds, I would first talk about these building relationship skills that I would like to see my children, if I have any children in the future. I would teach myself this skill, and saying if you work hard, you can be a fucking millionaire. Like, you just fucking go, man. Just chase your fucking dreams, and if you work hard enough, it's possible.
All right. Again, nothing. I wholeheartedly agree with that. Put your mind to it, you can achieve anything, sort of deal.
Yeah.
Is there? I mean, I guess we've already covered that one. One thing or experience that. Well, I guess we could, quick fire answer. Is there one thing or experience, anything really, that really, really stuck with you all this time? If you have to think back about any of those moments, could be good, could be bad. Anything that really, really sticks out.
This is a hard question.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's more like the overarching lesson that I think that it would be that the world is gray. There's more than just black and white. There's good and evil, and there's evil and good. It's just about balancing these things out. And I know it's a very vague thing to say, but this is one of the things I took away, that nothing is purely evil and nothing is purely good. It's just about balancing things out in different aspects in life. I would say this.
Cannot agree more. That's a perfect way to look at it. Now, hold on, let me check something real quick. Okay, so the last question, we got there in the end. And this is mainly for people who might watch this video at some point in the future or whatever. If there's any people who are eager to experiment with drugs, or are currently stuck with an addiction or a bad habit, or whatever you want to call it, is there anything you would tell them?
Yeah, if you are stuck with your addiction, I would say, depending on your age, if you let's say if you are over 20, I would say move to a different place and find a new job. Just start over and in life, like get a reset button, because you're not gonna. If this is what you realize and you're stuck and you don't know what to do with your situation, change your environment and your situation will change. This is a hard thing to do, and you need to cut loose on people and habits, but this will make you grow. And even if it's temporarily, you can always decide to go back, but maybe you need to disconnect from it and form an objective view of your current situation by stepping out of it. If you want to experiment with it, this is a good question. I would say just inform yourself with people who are also experimenting with it, but inform yourself with people who took bad decisions. Maybe find people who experimented with it and are leading a good life, just inform yourself. And just be careful, but I wouldn't oppose to it. If you really want to experiment it, do it. Just yeah, try to inform yourself. That's all I can say. And yeah, maybe think twice.
Definitely
reflect, yeah.
And don't do it by yourself,
Yeah.
whatever you do. Yeah, no, that's great advice. Trying to think if there's anything I can add to that, but honestly, I think that's a perfect response. Don't do anything stupid. Don't do anything you might regret. Inform yourself, as you said. Don't do anything by yourself. So I think, Dario, having that said, once again, I really, really want to thank you for all of this, because again, this episode would not have been possible without you.
It's been a pleasure, man.
It has been an incredibly fun evening. Thank you as well for sharing your stories and experiences, wanting to share those. Are there any final words that you would like to add?
Yeah, I would like to say, just go and rock life. Like, we live in a very dark period now, where you like everybody is in their own room or like their own house, and you don't have a lot of spontaneous moments anymore. Maybe find more spontaneous moments and let life come to you a little bit. I would say that's something we will need in the next months, hopefully, when things start to open up a little bit again. Like, get a little bit out of your comfort zone, find some happiness, maybe try some things you've never done before. Just live life and work hard on the things that you enjoy working hard on. Doesn't need to be a job, can be relationship, can be investing in friendships, can be investing in a company. Just work hard on things you value.
Yeah, I cannot agree more. If you work hard for something, it in the end, even though it might not, gratification or satisfaction might not come immediately, but if you work hard for it, eventually it will pay off.
Exactly.
For sure. So with that said, I also of course want to thank everyone who potentially watches this video. I hope you've enjoyed the show or enjoyed this episode, and there might be a future one coming. I'm not going to promise anything. This was more like a spontaneous
We'll see what happens. Yeah,
we'll see what happens. It was a spontaneous thing, but I definitely enjoyed it. Dario, I hope you've enjoyed it.
Yes, I'm just gonna press record there. I see it cut off. The cameras are cutting off on us, guys. Oh, card full. This card is full. Okay, we got a couple. Okay, we got a couple more. I'm gonna record a backup video of the outro on my phone of you to be sure. Where's my phone? Let's see. Yes, we got an extra angle just in case.
Well, like I already said, I just want to thank everyone who watches this video wholeheartedly. We truly hope you've enjoyed it. We've both enjoyed it.
Definitely.
So yeah, I just want to say, stay safe, stay healthy, try to light up the mood every now and then, and puff puff pass.